There comes a moment in the journey of every human soul when the noise of the world reaches a fever pitch and suddenly breaks into silence. It is a moment when the opinions of others, the expectations of society, and the demands of your physical senses no longer hold the authority they once did. You look around at the life you have built, at the relationships you have maintained, and at the reflection in the mirror, and you realize that you have been asleep. You have been playing a role in a play written by someone else. You have been reacting to life rather than creating it. This realization is not a crisis. It is the most important awakening of your existence. It is the call within. It is the voice of your true self, the divine imagination, waking up from the dream of limitation to remind you of who you really are. You are not a cork bobbing helplessly on the ocean of fate. You are the ocean, you are the tide. You are the gravity that moves the waters. The world may clamor for your attention, begging you to fix it, to fight it, or to fear it. But none of it matters unless it resonates with the truth of your own being. You were not created to be a shadow of someone else's story. You were created to be the author, the speaker, and the image maker of your own. We must begin by dismantling the greatest illusion that plagues humanity, which is the belief that reality is happening to you. Most people live their entire lives in a state of reaction. They wake up and look at their phone to see what the world is doing. They look at their bank account to tell them how they should feel. They look at their partner to determine if they are lovable today. They are slaves to the external. But the secret that the masters and mystics have whispered for centuries is that the outer world is nothing more than a mirror. It has no power of its own. It has no initiative. It can only reflect what you are doing in the secret silence of your own consciousness. If you continue to look outward, measuring yourself by others, watching who leaves and who stays, trying to control the uncontrollable tides of people's decisions, you lose the precious creative force that was meant to be centered in you. You are trying to comb the hair of the reflection in the mirror instead of combing your own hair. It is an exhausting, futile battle that leads only to despair. The moment you stop fighting the reflection and turn your attention inward to the face that is casting the reflection, you regain your dominion. Understanding this shift requires you to accept a radical responsibility. You are the operant power. This means that nothing enters your world without your permission, whether that permission was given consciously through desire or unconsciously through fear. The chaos you see in your life is not bad luck. It is a revelation of the chaos within your own mind. The rejection you experience is not a punishment. It is an echo of the part of you that still rejects your own value. This is a hard pill to swallow for the ego, which loves to play the victim, but it is the sweet nectar of liberation for the spirit. If you created the mess, you can create the miracle. If you are the cause of the darkness, you are also the source of the light. When you withdraw your attention from what others do, say, or think, and return that attention to your inner reality, you begin to move mountains. Attention is the currency of the universe. What you give your attention to, you give your life to. When you obsess over a problem, you are feeding it your lifeblood. When you focus on a lack, you are worshipping at the altar of poverty. You must learn to be a jealous guardian of your attention. You must learn to starve the things you do not wish to experience by removing your focus from them. Let us speak of the people in your life, for they are often the greatest source of distraction and pain. There is a tendency to cling to relationships that have outlived their purpose because we fear the void. We fear that if we let go, we will be alone. But I tell you that every exit is an entrance into a deeper version of your own awareness. If someone no longer aligns with your vision, your growth, or your peace, let them go. Do not let them go with resentment or anger, for that is still an attachment. Let them go with the knowing that they have played their part in your script and the scene is over. You do not need to fix them. You do not need to convince them of your worth. You do not need to carry them. You were never meant to sacrifice your becoming for the comfort of another's expectations. Some connections are seasonal. Some departures are sacred. Some endings are beginnings in disguise. When you try to hold on to a person who is vibrating at a different frequency, you are trying to mix oil and water. It requires constant, draining effort. Let the separation happen. It is the universe clearing the stage for the next act of your glory. When you shift your focus inward, you stop chasing. Chasing is the energy of lack. When you chase love, you are declaring, I do not have love. When you chase money, you are declaring, I do not have money. And the universe, acting as a faithful servant to your decree, ensures that you continue to not have it so that you can continue to chase it. The moment you stop chasing and start assuming, everything changes. Your reality responds not to your effort to manipulate the outer world, but to your inner acceptance of who you are. When you hold your attention on your desire and live in the end of its fulfillment, you are no longer dependent on who walked away or who misunderstood you. You are seeing yourself clearly, and that vision is enough. You become magnetic. Instead of going out to hunt for your good comes hunting for you. It is drawn to the stability and the certainty of your inner state. This is the difference between force and power. Force is trying to make things happen. Power is knowing that it is already done. This inward turn is what I call the sacred return to self. It is a return to the I am. Before you are a mother, a father, a husband, a wife, or an employee, you simply are. You are pure awareness. That awareness is God. It is the creative substance of the universe. When you say, I am sad, you are taking the name of God and clothing it in sadness. When you say, I am poor, you are clothing God in poverty. You have the right to do this, for you have free will. But why would you choose to clothe the King of Kings in rags? The awakening we speak of is the realization that you can choose new clothing for your spirit. You can say, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am loved, even when the physical world shows you the opposite. This is not lying, this is prophesying. This is calling things that are not as though they were. This is the act of the Creator. By engaging in this inner speech, you are rewriting the code of your reality. Every time you shift your gaze from what they did to how you now feel, you reclaim a piece of your soul. There is no freedom in watching the rearview mirror. If you are driving your car forward but looking backward, you will crash. Yet this is how most people live. They relive their traumas daily. They rehearse the arguments they had 10 years ago. They polish their old wounds as if they were trophies. All of your energy belongs to the now, to the unseen, to the imagined scene that you dwell in privately. That is where true change begins. Not in their apology, which may never come. Not in their approval, which you do not need. Not in their return, which might be a regression. Change begins in your decision to honor the divine within you by refusing to pollute your inner temple with the garbage of the past. You must become a gatekeeper. You must decide that your mind is a sanctuary and you will not allow thoughts of victimhood to enter. Give yourself permission to live in the state of your ideal. Most people are waiting for permission. They are waiting for a degree, a bank balance, or a partner to give them permission to feel good about themselves. But you are the authority. You grant the permission. Feel it real. Assume it now. You are not waiting on anyone. You are not bound by the decisions of others. You are free to create, free to feel, free to be. Do not chase shadows. Do not replay old scenes hoping for a different outcome. Dwell in the fulfillment of your desire as if it is already yours, because in the realm of imagination, it is. In the invisible, everything is already done. The house is built. The marriage is celebrated. The business is successful. It exists in the fourth dimension, waiting for you to occupy it with your consciousness. The only thing that keeps it from you is your refusal to believe it without seeing it. In the silence of your own mind, you hold dominion. The world cannot touch you there. The economy cannot touch you there. The opinions of your family cannot touch you there. It is the secret place of the Most High. In the stillness of your inner conversation, you create your tomorrow. What are you saying to yourself when no one is listening? Are you encouraging yourself, or are you tearing yourself down? Are you speaking the language of a victim or a victor? Your inner speech is the pen with which you write your destiny. If you change the conversation you have with yourself, you will change the conversation the world has with you. People will begin to speak to you differently because you are speaking to yourself differently. They are only echoing the tone you have set. So stay there, Rest there, focus there, and let the rest go. Let the memories fade, let the attachments dissolve, let the need to be validated by anyone outside yourself be completely released. You were not born to carry the weight of other people's decisions. You are not here to question your worth based on someone else's blindness. If they cannot see the diamond that you are, it is because their eyes are covered with dust, not because you are not shining. Do not dim your light to accommodate their darkness. You are here to choose yourself, to see yourself clearly, to remain loyal to the vision you hold deep within. And what is this vision? It is the truth that you are whole. You are already complete. You are already loved. You are already enough. This is not a self-help affirmation. This is a spiritual fact. The moment you decide to identify with this truth, you are no longer shaken by who goes or who stays. You become like a great oak tree. The birds may come and nest in your branches, or they may fly away. The seasons may change from summer to winter, but the tree remains rooted. It draws its nourishment from the deep earth, not from the fleeting birds. You must draw your nourishment from your own depth. Whatever you withdraw your attention from loses its hold over you. This is the law of atrophy. If you stop feeding a plant, it dies. If you stop feeding a problem with your worry, it dies. If you stop feeding a person with your emotional reaction, their influence over you dies. Resistance is energy wasted on illusion. When you fight something, you are tied to it. You are keeping it alive by your struggle. But when you let go, when you release your grip on the external and return to the stillness of your own mind, the whole world begins to bend to your state of being. The problem dissolves, not because you fought it, but because you starved it. This is the path of non-resistance. It is the path of water, which yields but conquers all. Let them go. You are not losing anything. You are remembering who you are. And in that remembrance, the things, people, and situations that no longer resonate will fall away naturally like leaves in autumn. The old story of rejection, of betrayal, of abandonment was never your truth. It was a costume you wore. It was a role you played because you thought it was expected of you. But the play is over. The curtain has fallen. You can take off the costume now. You can wash off the makeup. Underneath the scars and the stories, there is a being of light that has never been hurt. There is a consciousness that is pure and untouched. Connect with that part of you. That is the part of you that creates. When you operate from that center, you are unstoppable. You are no longer reacting to the trauma. You are acting from inspiration. You are not trying to prove them wrong. You are too busy enjoying your own rightness. You are under no obligation to hold on to anything that diminishes your light. Focus on yourself, not in self-absorption, but in sacred alignment. Self-love is not vanity, it is sanity. If you do not love yourself, you cannot love anyone else, for you cannot give what you do not have. When you fill your own cup, it overflows to the world. Center your being around the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Close your eyes and live from that place. Speak from that place, move from that place, think from that place. Imagine you are an actor who has refused to break character. You stay in the character of the successful, loved, healthy person until the world believes you. And eventually, the world will have no choice but to reflect that character back to you. Every change you seek begins within. And every person you lose is simply the reflection of an old state that no longer matches your inner vibration. They are not enemies. They are not mistakes. They are messengers. Their exit is confirmation that the inner shift has occurred. When you raise your vibration, the people who are committed to staying low will become uncomfortable in your presence. They will lash out or they will leave. Do not grieve this. Celebrate the clearing. Honor the new space it has created. You are making room for what belongs. If you fill your house with old broken furniture, there is no room for the new beautiful furniture to arrive. Empty the house. Trust the void. The universe abhors a vacuum and will rush to fill it with something that matches your new state. What belongs to you will find you, not because you chased it, but because you became it. Your only work is to remain loyal to your inner world. Do not betray yourself for the sake of being accepted. The price of that acceptance is your soul. It is too high a price to pay. Do not abandon your own growth just to be understood by someone who is not ready to see. You cannot force others to rise to your level of awareness. You cannot wake up a person who is pretending to be asleep. Let them sleep. You wake up, you rise, you shine. Your responsibility is to persist in your assumption, to dwell in your ideal, and to maintain the feeling of already having what you desire, regardless of appearances. The world will test your focus. It will throw challenges at you to see if you are serious. It will tempt you to react, to return to the old self, to lower your standards in order to fit into places you have outgrown. This is the resistance of the old paradigm. It is like the gravity trying to hold a rocket down, but you have enough fuel to break escape velocity. You must push through the resistance with the power of your focus. You must remember that your reality is not shaped by reaction. It is shaped by conscious attention. You become what you observe internally. You merge with what you repeatedly accept as true. So ask yourself, what are you accepting right now? What identity are you claiming in the silence of your thoughts? You cannot hold two identities at once. You cannot be the creator and the victim. You cannot be the master and the slave. You must choose. This is the decision that defines your life. Either you dwell in the state of being chosen, loved, prosperous, free, or you remain trapped in the illusion that you are at the mercy of others. The choice is always yours. And that is the true freedom. You get to decide what is real. The moment you claim a new identity, the world begins to rearrange itself to reflect it. But it begins in you. It begins with the call within. Answer that call today. Stop listening to the noise. Listen to the silence. In the silence, you will find your power. In the silence, you will find yourself. And when you find yourself, you will find that you have found everything. The dream of separation is over. The reality of your union with the divine creative power has begun. Awake, O sleeper, and rise from the dead, and the light of your own consciousness shall shine upon you. Having heard the call within and awakened from the dream of separation, we must now confront the chains that have kept you bound to the dream for so long. These chains are not made of iron or steel, but of a far stronger substance. They are made of dependency. To truly live from the inside out, you must undergo the radical process of releasing your dependency on the external world. For years, perhaps for your entire life, you have lived with the unconscious belief that your safety, your worth, and your happiness are imported goods. You have believed that they must come from a person, a job, a bank account, or a societal status. You have acted like a beggar sitting on a throne of gold, asking passers-by for pennies. The tragedy is not that you are empty, but that you are full and do not know it. The moment you look outside of yourself for salvation, you deny the God within. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot trust the infinite power of your own imagination while simultaneously believing that your destiny lies in the hands of another human being. This section of our journey is about cutting the cords of spiritual slavery and standing upright in the dignity of your own being. The most pervasive form of this slavery is the dependency on other people. We are conditioned to believe that we are half a soul looking for another half to complete us. We are taught that if we are not chosen, we are not valuable. This lie is the root of all heartbreak and social anxiety. When you depend on someone else to reflect your worth back to you, you give them the power to destroy you. You hand them the remote control to your emotional state. If they smile, you are happy. If they frown, you are devastated. If they stay, you are secure. If they leave, you are ruined. This is a precarious and terrifying way to live. It transforms your life into a constant performance, a dance of manipulation where you are always trying to earn the love that is actually your birthright. You must understand that no one can give you what you have not first appropriated for yourself. If you feel unworthy within, the most loving partner in the world will not be able to fill that void. They will only mirror your insecurity back to you until you are forced to face it. Releasing external dependency means you stop waiting for a savior. There is no knight in shining armor coming to rescue you. There is no lottery win that will solve your internal poverty. There is no politician who will legislate your peace of mind. You are the one you have been waiting for. This realization can feel stark and lonely at first, but it is actually the gateway to ultimate freedom. When you realize that no one is coming to save you, you also realize that no one can stop you. You reclaim your authority. You stop looking at the phone waiting for it to ring. You stop checking the mail for the check that will fix everything. You stop seeking closure from people who hurt you. You realize that closure is an inside job. It is the decision to stop reopening the wound. It is the decision to stop telling the story of the victim. When you release the need for others to act a certain way for you to feel good, you become emotionally invincible. You become like a mountain. The weather may change around you. Storms may come and go, but the mountain does not move. We must address the pain of letting go, for this is where many stumble. You may be holding on to a relationship, a friendship, or a job that is draining you, simply because you are afraid of the empty space that would remain if you let it go. You fear the void. But I tell you, the void is not empty. It is pregnant with possibility. The universe abhors a vacuum. When you release a dependency that is no longer serving you, you create a sacred space for something new and higher to enter. You cannot fill a cup that is already full of stagnant water. You must pour it out. Letting go of people who do not align with your new state of consciousness is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of alignment. It is an act of faith. You are telling the universe that you trust it to replace the good with the better. You are telling your subconscious mind that you are no longer available for crumbs. You are ready for the banquet. There is a profound spiritual law that states you lose what you cling to, but you keep what you release. When you cling to a person out of fear and neediness, you are suffocating the connection. You are projecting the energy of "I cannot live without you," which is a heavy, repulsive burden to place on another human soul. It pushes them away. But when you release the dependency, when you find your center within yourself, you become magnetic. You become a person who prefers others but does not need them. This shift from need to preference is the secret to charisma. It is the secret to attraction. People want to be around a sun, not a black hole. When you are the source of your own light, you warm everyone around you without draining them. You liberate the people you love from the terrible burden of being your God. You allow them to be human, and in doing so, you allow the relationship to breathe and flourish in truth rather than in fear. Consider the dependency on validation and approval. How much of your life is spent explaining yourself? How much energy do you waste trying to convince people that you are right, that you are good, that you are worthy? This need for approval is a leak in your vessel. It drains the power that could be used for creation. When you live from the inside out, you stop explaining. You stop apologizing for your desires. You understand that your imagination is the only authority you need to consult. If you have imagined success, it does not matter if the world thinks you are a failure. If you have imagined health, it does not matter if the diagnosis is grim. The opinion of the crowd is the noise of the sleepwalkers. Why would you ask a sleepwalker for directions? You are awake. You follow the compass of your own inner vision. You must reach a point of spiritual maturity where you are willing to be misunderstood. You must be willing to walk alone in your conviction until the physical evidence appears to prove you right. This releasing process requires you to reevaluate the concept of security. The world tells you security is a number in a bank account or a ring on a finger, but these things can disappear in an instant. True security is an internal state. It is the knowledge that you are one with the creative power of the universe. It is the knowledge that you can create wealth, love, and health at will through the use of your imagination. When you know you are the operant power, you do not fear loss. If you lose a job, you know you can manifest a better one. If you lose money, you know you can generate more. This removes the spirit of fear from your life. You walk with the swagger of the divine. You interact with the world not as a survivor but as a creator. You are not trying to survive the circumstances. You are creating the circumstances. This shift in posture changes everything. The world respects the man or woman who does not need it. The world bows to the individual who is self-sustained. You must also release the dependency on the past. Many of you are dependent on your old stories to define who you are. You cling to your trauma because it gives you an identity. You say, I am this way because my parents treated me this way, or I cannot succeed because I failed 10 years ago. These are crutches. They are excuses you use to avoid the terrifying responsibility of your own power. To change your life, you must drop the crutch. You must let the dead bury the dead. The past has no power over you unless you give it power by dragging it into the present moment through your memory and your conversation. You must forgive the past, not because the past was good, but because you are too valuable to carry the weight of it. You must cut the cord. You must stand in the now, naked and unashamed, ready to clothe yourself in a new conception of self that has nothing to do with what came before. This level of independence is often mistaken for coldness or detachment, but it is actually the highest form of love. When you do not need people to fix you, you can love them freely. You can see them as they are, not as props in your drama. You can appreciate the beauty of a sunset without needing to own the sun. You can enjoy the presence of a friend without locking the door so they cannot leave. It is a love born of fullness, not hunger. It is a love that gives rather than takes, and because it gives, it receives abundantly. The universe operates on the principle of circulation. When you stop clutching, you open your hands, and open hands can receive the gifts that were blocked by your tight grip. Releasing external dependency is a daily practice. It is a mental diet. Every time you feel the urge to call someone to complain, stop, go within, and revise the situation. Every time you feel the panic of a bill arriving, stop, go within, and assume the state of abundance. Every time you feel the sting of rejection, stop, go within, and affirm your own value. You must retrain your mind to go to the internal source first. You must make the inner world your primary reality and the outer world the secondary reflection. This takes discipline. It takes grit. It is easier to cry and blame the world. It is easier to play the victim. But you are tired of that game. You are tired of the roller coaster. You are ready for the solid ground of your own spiritual authority. You are the author, the speaker, and the image maker. Do not hand the pen to anyone else. Do not let the news media write your story. Do not let your ex-partner write your story. Do not let your bank balance write your story. Take the pen back. The page is blank. The ink is your imagination. The story can be anything you want it to be, but only if you are brave enough to write it alone in the silence of your heart. The world is waiting for your command. It is waiting for you to stop asking for permission. It is waiting for you to realize that the power you have been seeking in the temples and the markets and the faces of others has been sitting on the throne of your own heart all along. As you walk this path of liberation, you will find that the things you used to chase begin to chase you. When you stop needing the phone to ring, it rings. When you stop needing the apology, it comes. When you stop needing the money, it flows. This is the great cosmic joke. The universe withholds from the needy and gives to the fulfilled. So, become fulfilled. Fill yourself up with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Feast on your own imagination. Drink from the waters of your own inner being, and you will find that you never thirst again. You will walk through the world as a king in disguise, needing nothing, yet possessing all things. This is the state of the master. This is the destination of the path, and it begins with the simple, courageous decision to cut the strings and stand on your own 2 feet. We have spoken of the awakening from the dream and the liberation from external dependency, but now we must discuss the tool by which you maintain this freedom. That tool is your attention. I want you to understand that your attention is not merely a passive faculty of observation. It is the most precious commodity you possess. It is the creative currency of the universe. Where you place your attention, you place your life. Where you place your attention, you place your energy. And where you place your energy, reality must spring forth. You are constantly purchasing your experience with the coin of your focus. Most people are reckless spendthrifts with this currency. They throw their attention at every disaster on the news, every gossip in the workplace, and every ache in their body. They invest heavily in the very things they claim to hate. They do not realize that by attending to these things, they are keeping them alive. You cannot starve a problem while you are feeding it with your focus. To change your life, you must become a master investor of your attention. You must withdraw it from the evidence of your senses and place it entirely on the vision of your heart. Let us analyze the mechanics of this power. Your attention is like a divine searchlight in a dark room. Whatever the light hits becomes visible, tangible, and real. Whatever is left in the darkness recedes into non-existence. The furniture in the room does not disappear when the light moves away, but it ceases to be part of your immediate experience. In the vast storehouse of creation, every possible scenario exists. Poverty exists and wealth exists. Sickness exists and health exists. War exists and peace exists. They are all present in the structure of the universe. But they only become your reality when you shine the searchlight of your attention upon them. If you are sick, it is because your attention has been fixed upon the state of sickness. You have felt it, discussed it, researched it, and identified with it. To be healed, you must do the impossible thing. You must take your attention away from the pain and place it upon the state of health. You must stop being the observer of the disease and become the observer of the cure. This requires a discipline that few are willing to cultivate, but it is the only way to move from one state of consciousness to another. There is a law that governs this process, which we can call the law of growth and atrophy. Whatever you attend to grows. Whatever you deny your attention to withers and dies. This is true for plants, for relationships, and for states of mind. If you have a memory that haunts you, it haunts you only because you keep inviting it back into your living room. You pull up a chair for it. You serve it tea. You give it your time. If you were to completely withdraw your attention from that memory, if you refuse to engage with it, it would eventually fade into a ghostly echo and then disappear entirely. It has no life of its own. It borrows its life from you. You are the source. This is the secret to destroying the old man, the old version of yourself that you wish to leave behind. You do not fight him. You do not argue with him. You simply ignore him to death. You starve him of the one thing he needs to survive, which is your focused awareness. This practice is the ultimate test of your sovereignty. The world is designed to steal your attention. The billboards, the screens, the noise of society are all engineered to capture your gaze and direct it toward lack, fear, and consumption. When you allow your attention to be hijacked by the outer world, you are a slave. You are reacting to a script written by advertisers and fearmongers. To be free, you must reclaim the reins of your mind. You must decide that you will not look where the world tells you to look. You will look where you choose to look. If the news speaks of recession, you look within to your own abundance. If the doctor speaks of incurability, you look within to your own vitality. This ability to look away from the facts and look toward the truth is the mark of the awakened soul. It is a form of spiritual defiance. You are declaring that your inner vision is more valid than the outer spectacle. Consider the nature of obsession. When you fall in love, your attention is consumed by the beloved. You think of them constantly. You see their face in the crowd. You hear their name in songs. And because of this intense focus, you draw them into your world. You merge with them. The same principle applies to your desires. You must become obsessed with the state of the wish fulfilled. You must be so consumed by the feeling of your success that you have no attention left for the possibility of failure. You must fall in love with your ideal. You must give it the best hours of your day. Most people give their best attention to their problems and their leftover, tired attention to their dreams. You must reverse this. Give your prime attention, your morning zeal, and your evening reverence to the person you want to become. Let the problem starve in the shadows while your dream basks in the light. This control of attention is what the ancients meant by prayer. Prayer is not begging a God to change his mind. Prayer is the act of turning your attention away from the problem and focusing it entirely on the solution until you become one with it. It is a movement of consciousness. If you are praying for money but your mind is focused on debt, you are not praying, you are complaining. You are reinforcing the debt. True prayer is the successful direction of attention toward the desired state until the mind is filled with the feeling of relief. When you have successfully moved your attention, the anxiety vanishes. You cannot be anxious about something you are not looking at. If you are looking at wealth, you cannot feel poor. If you are looking at peace, you cannot feel conflict. The feeling follows the focus. Therefore, if you want to change your feeling, change your focus. We must also speak of the rearview mirror syndrome. Many of you are trying to drive forward into a new future while your eyes are fixed on the rearview mirror of your past. You are focused on who hurt you, on what you lost, on the mistakes you made. As long as your attention is on the past, you are recreating it. You are dragging the corpse of yesterday into the living room of today. The Bible tells the story of Lot's wife, who looked back at the burning city of Sodom and was turned into a pillar of salt. Salt is a preservative. When you look back at your past trauma with emotion, you preserve it, you freeze it in your experience. To be saved, you must look forward. You must take your attention off the dead things and place it on the living things. You must be willing to let the past burn without witnessing it. Let it go. Your destiny is ahead of you, but you cannot see it if you are looking behind you. This mastery of attention requires a quality of controlled reverie. You must learn how to shut out the senses at will. There is a practice of narrowing your focus so completely that the physical world seems to dissolve. When you are in a deep daydream, you do not hear the person calling your name. You do not feel the chair you are sitting on. You are entirely present in the imaginal act. This is the state of creation. You want to be able to enter this state of reverie deliberately. You want to be able to close your eyes and withdraw your attention from the room you are in, and place it so vividly in the room you desire to be in, that you actually feel you are there. This is teleportation of consciousness. By removing your attention from the here and placing it in the there, you make the there here. You bring the future into the present. However, be warned that attention is a habit. If you have spent 40 years letting your mind wander like a stray dog, sniffing at every piece of garbage in the street, it will be difficult to bring it to heel. It will rebel. It will want to run back to the familiar worries. You must be patient but firm. You must train your attention like you would train a muscle. Every time it wanders off to fear, gently bring it back to the wish fulfilled. Every time it gets distracted by the 3D world, guide it back to the 4D reality. Do not get angry at yourself, just return. The return is the exercise. Each time you return your focus to your ideal, you are building spiritual strength. Eventually, your attention will rest naturally on your desire. It will become your dwelling place. There is a profound connection between attention and love. You cannot love what you do not attend to. If you ignore your spouse, the relationship dies. If you ignore your body, your health declines. If you ignore your money, it vanishes. Conversely, what you love, you watch. If you want to increase something in your life, gaze at it. If you want more beauty, look for beauty. If you want more prosperity, focus on the abundance that is already present, no matter how small. Bless what you have with your attention, and it will multiply. Curse what you have with neglect or criticism, and it will diminish. You are the gardener. Your attention is the water. Your garden will grow exactly what you water. If you have a garden full of weeds, it is because you have been watering the weeds. Stop watering them. Turn your hose to the flowers. This power is your birthright. It is the scepter of your dominion. No one can take your attention from you without your consent. They can take your money. They can restrict your freedom. They can slander your name, but they cannot force you to look at what you do not wish to see. You can be in a prison cell and focus your attention on freedom. You can be in the midst of war and focus your attention on peace. This is the ultimate freedom that Viktor Frankl spoke of. It is the last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. By choosing where to place your mind, you transcend the circumstances, you become superior to the environment, the environment must eventually reshape itself to match your sustained focus. Let us be practical. How do you apply this today? You start by noticing where your eyes go and where your thoughts go. When you open your social media, are you looking at things that make you feel small, envious, or angry? If so, you are paying for your own misery with your attention. Stop paying, unfollow, delete, look away. When you are in a conversation, are you listening to gossip or complaints? If so, you are investing in negativity. Change the subject or leave the room. Withdraw your investment. Be ruthless with your focus. Treat your attention like a laser beam, not a light bulb. A light bulb scatters energy in all directions and has little impact. A laser beam focuses energy on a single point and can cut through steel. You want to be a laser. Focus on your definite chief aim. Focus on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Cut through the steel of your resistance with the laser of your attention. There is a mystical truth that states, "To him that hath, more shall be given, and from him that hath not, even that which he hath shall be taken away." This refers to the possession of the consciousness of the thing. If you have the consciousness of wealth by attending to it, more wealth will be given. If you do not have it by ignoring it or attending to poverty, even the little you have will be taken. Your attention is the mechanism of having. To keep your mind fixed on the state of the wish fulfilled is to have it in the only place that matters, the imagination. And because you have it within, you must eventually have it without. So, I invite you to take an audit of your attention today. Where is it going? Who is stealing it? What are you buying with it? Reclaim your wealth. Call your energy back from the past. Call your energy back from the fears of the future. Center it right here, right now, on the feeling of I am. I am what I desire to be. I am the master of my focus. I am the operant power. When you center your attention in this truth, you become a sun. You radiate power. You attract the planets of circumstance into your orbit. You stop chasing the world, and the world begins to revolve around you. This is the power of attention. Use it wisely. Use it lovingly. Use it to build a world that is worthy of the divine being that you are. We have journeyed inward to the center of your power, and now we must pick up the tools of your trade. If imagination is the blueprint of your destiny, then words are the bricks and mortar with which you build the structure. We must fundamentally alter your understanding of language. You have been taught that words are merely tools for communication, sounds used to describe the world around you, or labels to identify objects and feelings. But this is a primitive understanding. In the high metaphysics of consciousness, words are not descriptive. They are creative. When you speak, you are not just reporting on the weather of your life, you are generating the climate. You are the architect of your reality, and every sentence you utter is a decree that the universe rushes to obey. Understanding this changes everything. It turns every conversation into a workshop and every thought into a prayer. You must realize that you are constantly issuing commands to the formless substance of life, molding it into the shape of your speech. The tragedy of the human condition is that we are largely unaware of the orders we are giving. We speak of our misery, our lack, and our pain as if they were solid facts, never realizing that by speaking of them, we are cementing them into our future. Consider the ancient truth that the universe itself was spoken into existence. This is not a fable about a distant deity. It is a revelation about the nature of your own consciousness. You are made in the image of the Creator, which means your word has the same structural power. When you say something with conviction, you are collapsing the wave of infinite possibility into a single, tangible event. Most people use this power in reverse. They look at their bank account and say, I am broke. They look at the news and say, the world is falling apart. They look at their bodies and say, I am getting old. They believe they are simply stating the facts, but in the realm of spirit, there are no facts, only solidified assumptions. By stating these negative conditions, you are signing a contract with them to remain. You are decreeing their continuance. To bend reality to your will, you must stop being a reporter of your history and start being the prophet of your destiny. You must learn to speak of things that are not as though they were. You must dare to decree, I am wealthy in the face of poverty, and I am whole in the face of brokenness. This is the architecture of reality. This practice of decreeing is not about empty affirmations or mindlessly repeating words you do not believe. It is about authority. A king does not beg his subjects, he issues a decree. A judge does not hope for a verdict, he declares it. You must find that place of royal authority within yourself. When you speak to your subconscious mind, you must do so with the weight of conviction. The universe does not respond to the words themselves. It responds to the energy of the decree behind them. If you say, I am successful, but your inner voice is trembling with doubt, the universe hears the tremble, not the word. But when you align your word with your feeling, when you speak from the deep knowing of your own divine nature, your word becomes a sharp sword that cuts through the illusion of the senses. You must become conscious of the I am. The words I am are the most powerful creative sounds in the human language because they define your identity. Whatever you attach to I am, you become. You are constantly defining yourself. Every time you say I am tired, I am sick, I am lonely, you are casting a spell upon yourself. You are limiting the infinite potential within you to a small, restrictive state. You must become a vigilant guardian of your I am. Never finish a sentence with a negative condition unless you want to experience it. Let us look deeper into the architecture of your inner speech. While the words you speak aloud are powerful, the words you whisper to yourself in the silence of your mind are even more potent. This inner speech is the ceaseless monologue that runs in the background of your consciousness from the moment you wake until the moment you sleep. It is the invisible construction crew that is building your tomorrow. Most people are totally unaware of this inner chatter. If you were to record your inner conversations for a single day, you would likely be shocked. You might hear arguments with people who are not there, defenses of your past mistakes, rehearsals of future fears, and a constant stream of self-criticism. This inner noise is not harmless. It is the vibration you are broadcasting to the cosmos. Neville Goddard taught that your outer world is nothing more than your inner conversations pushed out. The way your boss treats you, the way your partner speaks to you, the opportunities that come to you, they are all echoes of the conversations you are holding in the secret chamber of your mind. If you want to change the architecture of your life, you must fire the old construction crew. You must stop the inner arguments. You must stop the inner criticism. You must begin to hold inner conversations that are premised on the fulfillment of your desire. Imagine a friend congratulating you on your success. Hear their voice clearly in your mind. Hear yourself replying with joy and gratitude. This inner dialogue is a decree. It is a dress rehearsal for reality. If you rehearse a scene of conflict in your mind, you will inevitably encounter conflict in your world. If you rehearse a scene of harmony and celebration, you will inevitably encounter harmony and celebration. You are writing the script of a play. And the actors of the world, your family, your friends, strangers on the street are bound to speak the lines you have written for them. They have no choice. They are reflecting your inner speech. This understanding brings a terrifying but liberating responsibility. It means there is no one to blame. You cannot blame the economy, or the government, or your parents for the state of your life, because you are the one who has been decreeing it through your inner and outer speech. You have been the architect of your own prison, but the key to the prison is in your mouth. You can speak a new word. You can decree a new statute. You can tear down the walls of limitation with the battering ram of a new concept of self. This requires a radical discipline. You must refuse to participate in conversations that do not align with your vision. When others start complaining, you must withdraw your attention or change the subject. When the news speaks of disaster, you must turn it off and speak of peace. You must become an island of conviction in a sea of doubt. Consider the metaphor of the ship and the captain. Your life is a great ship crossing the ocean of time. Your conscious mind is the captain on the bridge. Your subconscious mind is the crew in the engine room. The crew cannot see the ocean. They do not know where the ship is going. They simply follow orders. Every word you speak, every inner thought you accept as true. is an order sent down from the bridge to the engine room. If the captain screams, "We are going to crash," the crew will steer the ship into the rocks to fulfill the order. If the captain says, "We are sailing to paradise," the crew will navigate the calmest waters to get there. For years, you have been a captain who is asleep at the wheel, shouting random, contradictory, and fearful orders. Is it any wonder your ship has been going in circles? It is time to wake up. It is time to take the wheel. It is time to issue clear, calm, and positive decrees to the engine room of your soul. You must also understand the concept of vain repetition. Many people think that decreeing means mindlessly repeating an affirmation like a parrot. I am rich, I am rich, I am rich. This is useless if the underlying feeling is one of poverty. A decree is not a noise. It is a movement of consciousness. It is a claim of validity. When you speak a word of truth, you must feel the truth of it. You must accept it as a done deal. When a king issues a decree, he does not repeat it 1,000 times and wonder if it will happen. He speaks it once, signs it with his seal, and moves on to other business, knowing that his army and his ministers will execute his will. You must have that same royal confidence. Speak your word. Sign it with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and then go about your day with the assurance that the universe is working on it. This architecture of reality is built on the foundation of the present tense. You cannot decree, "I will be happy." Will be is a trap. It keeps the happiness forever in the future, just out of reach like a carrot on a stick. You must decree, "I am happy." Even if tears are streaming down your face, you affirm the state of happiness as your true reality until the tears dry up and the joy returns. You must call the future into the present. You must pull the there into the here. All creation takes place in the eternal now. God's name is I am, not I will be. When you speak in the present tense, you align yourself with the only power that exists. You bypass the delay of time. You assert that the condition is a present fact in the fourth dimension, and because it is a fact there, it must project itself onto the screen of space in the third dimension. There is a tremendous power in silence that complements the power of the decree. Sometimes, the most powerful word is the one you do not speak. When you are tempted to argue, to defend yourself, to explain your failures, stop, swallow those words. Do not give them life. Let them die in the silence. Conserve your creative energy for your high ideals. Do not leak your power in idle chatter. Every word you speak should be an investment in the life you want to live. If it does not build, do not say it. If it does not heal, do not say it. If it does not inspire, do not say it. Be a master of your tongue, for the tongue is the rudder of the ship. As you begin to practice this discipline, you will notice a change in the atmosphere around you. People will respond to you differently. They will sense the authority in your voice. Even if you are speaking softly, they will sense the coherence of your energy. Your words will carry weight. You will find that things you say casually begin to happen. You might say, "I would love to see a specific flower," and someone brings it to you an hour later. You might say, "I feel like things are turning around," and a check arrives in the mail. These are the signs that your architecture is taking shape. The walls are going up, the roof is being laid, your world is conforming to your speech. Be careful what you say in jest. The subconscious mind has no sense of humor. It takes everything literally. If you joke about being clumsy, or broke, or unlovable, the subconscious takes it as a command and executes it. You must joke only about your greatness. You must be light-hearted about your success. Make your humor serve your vision. Do not use self-deprecation as a social crutch. It is too expensive. It costs you your dignity and your destiny. Speak of yourself with the reverence due to a temple of the living God. This way of living requires you to become a listener of your own life. Listen to what you are telling your friends. Are you telling the old story of the victim? "Oh, you know me, always bad luck." Stop telling that story immediately. Burn that script. Start telling the new story. "I am so blessed. Things always work out for me. I am surrounded by opportunity. At first, it might feel strange, even arrogant, but remember, you are not bragging to the world, you are commanding your subconscious. You are setting the coordinates for your ship. If people think you are lucky, let them. You know it is not luck, it is law. It is the law of the decree. Ultimately, your words are the bridge between the spiritual and the physical. An idea is like steam, invisible and formless. A word is like water, fluid and moving. A physical event is like ice, solid and hard, but they are all the same substance in different states. To turn the steam of your desire into the ice of physical reality, you must condense it through the word. You must speak it into being. You must articulate your vision. Clarity of speech leads to clarity of manifestation. Do not be vague, do not send mixed messages. Be precise, be bold, be consistent. So, I invite you to pick up the blueprint of your ideal life today. Look at it. What does it look like? Now pick up the bricks of your words and start building. Decree health where there is sickness. Decree wealth where there is lack. Decree love where there is loneliness. Do not wait for the evidence. The evidence is waiting for your decree. You are the builder. You are the architect. The world is your construction site. And the power to raise a palace from the dust is sitting right on the tip of your tongue. Speak and let it be done. We have spoken of the blueprint of imagination and the bricks of your decrees, but a blueprint and bricks alone do not build a temple. There must be a binding agent, a mortar that holds the structure together and gives it life. In the mechanics of reality creation, that binding agent is feeling. This is the great secret that the ancients carved into stone and whispered in the mystery schools, yet it is the very secret that modern man has forgotten in his worship of the intellect. You can speak the words, I am wealthy 1,000 times a day, but if you speak them from a vibration of desperate lack, you will only create more lack. The universe does not speak English or French or Spanish. The universe speaks the primal language of resonance, which is feeling. Your words determine the shape of the mold, but your feeling fills the mold with the molten gold of reality. Without feeling, your affirmations are merely empty sounds, echoing in a void. With feeling, they become nuclear commands that rearrange the atoms of your life. To accelerate your manifestation, you must stop trying to convince your logical mind and start seducing your subconscious mind through the power of emotion. We must be very precise about what we mean by feeling, for this is where the greatest confusion lies. When I say you must feel it real, I am not asking you to generate a state of manic excitement or hysterical joy. Those are volatile emotions that burn out quickly. The feeling that creates reality is the deep, steady, and visceral sensation of having. It is the feeling of naturalness. Think of the shoes you are wearing right now. You possess them. You do not walk down the street jumping for joy because you have shoes. You simply accept them. They are a natural part of your reality. You feel comfortable in them. This is the feeling you must cultivate for your greatest desires. Whether you want $1 million or a healed body, you must reach the point where having it feels as natural, as normal, and as inevitable as wearing your shoes. It is a quiet confidence. It is a settling of the spirit. It is the deep exhale of relief that says, thank God it is done. This feeling of relief is the most potent accelerator of manifestation. Because relief implies that the burden of desire has been lifted and replaced by the satisfaction of fulfillment. Let us examine the mechanics of the subconscious mind, which is the engine of your experience. The conscious mind is the gatekeeper. It deals with logic, facts, and the five senses. The subconscious mind is the creative power. It deals with patterns, habits, and feelings. The subconscious is impersonal and non-selective. It does not judge whether a thought is good or bad for you. It only judges whether you feel it to be true. If you entertain a thought of failure and you saturate that thought with the feeling of dread, the subconscious accepts that dread as a command. It says, the master feels dread. Therefore, I must create circumstances that justify this dread. It rushes to create failure. Conversely, if you entertain a thought of success and you saturate it with the feeling of gratitude and security, the subconscious accepts that security as a command and rushes to create success. The thought is the father, and the feeling is the mother. There is no creation without this union. You cannot simply think your way to a new life. You must feel your way there. This explains why you have failed in the past. You have tried to change your life through willpower and intellectual force. You have gritted your teeth and tried to think positive, while your stomach was knotted with fear. You were stepping on the gas and the brake at the same time. The gas was your conscious desire, but the brake was your feeling of unworthiness or doubt. The feeling always wins, because the feeling is the language of the subconscious. To accelerate your manifestation, you must align your feeling with your thought. You must become a master actor in the theater of your own mind. An actor does not just read lines, he becomes the character. He adopts the posture, the breathing, and the emotional tone of the character until he actually feels the emotions he is portraying. You must do the same. You must step into the skin of your future self. How does that person feel when they wake up in the morning? Do they feel anxious? No, they feel secure. Do they feel lonely? No, they feel cherished. You must summon these feelings now. In the absence of the physical evidence, this is the high art of magic. There is a law of transmission at work here. Emotion is energy in motion. When you feel a state deeply, you are transmitting a signal into the quantum field. The intensity of the feeling determines the strength of the signal. This is why things you fear often manifest quickly, because your fear is intense. You worry about a bill, you feel the knot in your stomach, you lose sleep over it, and lo and behold, an unexpected expense arrives. You manifested it perfectly because you felt it intensely. Now, imagine if you applied that same intensity to your desires. Imagine if you could feel the joy of your success with the same visceral realism that you feel the dread of your failure. You would become unstoppable. The acceleration comes from the intensity of the feeling, not the duration of time. One moment of absolute, ecstatic conviction is worth more than 10 years of lukewarm hoping. You do not need to sustain the high intensity forever. You just need to hit the note clearly enough to impress the subconscious. Once the impression is made, the manifestation is inevitable. You might ask, how can I feel it when it is not here? This is the challenge of the senses. Your senses are constantly reporting the absence of your desire. They tell you the bank account is empty. They tell you the bed is empty. To feel the wish fulfilled, you must withdraw your attention from the senses and place it entirely on your imagination. You must learn to shut out the world of facts and enter the world of truth. Close your eyes, withdraw from the noise. Ask yourself, what would the feeling be like if it were true? Do not look for the feeling outside. Look for it inside. Perhaps it starts as a small spark of excitement. Focus on that spark. Breathe into it. Fan the flame with your focus. Allow the feeling to spread from your heart to your extremities. Let it change your posture. Let it put a smile on your face. You are generating a chemical change in your body. You are literally teaching your body what the future feels like. Your body does not know the difference between an experience and a thought that is deeply felt. By practicing this feeling, you are biologically and energetically becoming the person who has the desire. One of the most effective ways to access this feeling is through the sense of touch in your imagination. Touch is the most reality-inducing sense. If you want a new car, do not just see the car. Feel your hands gripping the steering wheel. Feel the texture of the leather. Feel the vibration of the engine. If you want a wedding ring, feel the cold metal on your finger. Twist it with your thumb. Feel the weight of it. As you engage the sense of touch in your imagination, the feeling of reality naturally follows. It stops being a daydream and starts being a virtual experience. The subconscious is easily tricked by touch. When you touch the object of your desire in your mind, you are claiming ownership of it. You are telling the subconscious, this is real, this is mine. The feeling of possession is the key. You cannot desire what you already possess. When you feel you possess it, the longing ceases and the materialization begins. This practice requires emotional discipline. Most people are emotional addicts, addicted to the chemicals of stress and drama. They wake up and unconsciously look for something to be upset about because their body is craving the cortisol hit. To accelerate your manifestation, you must break this addiction. You must go on a fast from negative emotions. This does not mean you suppress genuine pain, but it means you stop indulging in recreational negativity. You stop watching things that make you angry. You stop participating in conversations that make you feel hopeless. You conserve your emotional energy so you can invest it in your ideal. You must become a guardian of your mood. Your mood is your atmosphere. If your atmosphere is cloudy and stormy with doubt, the sun of your desire cannot break through. If you maintain a mood of confident expectancy, a mood of lightheartedness, you create a climate in which your seeds can grow rapidly. Consider the concept of faith not as a blind belief, but as a sustained feeling. Faith is the feeling of knowing that it is done. It is the feeling of the Sabbath, the day of rest. When you have successfully impregnated your subconscious with your desire, you will feel a distinct shift. The anxiety will leave. The desperate need to make it happen will vanish. You will feel a sense of profound peace. This peace is the signal that the work is done. It is the signal that the seed has taken root. When you reach this state of rest, the manifestation accelerates because you have removed the resistance. Resistance is simply the feeling of doubt and effort. When you stop trying and start trusting, you get out of your own way. The universe can then deliver the goods without fighting through your barriers of fear. The fastest way to get what you want is to feel that you already have it, and then go about your life with the joy of that knowing. Let us use a practical example. Suppose you want to manifest a specific sum of money. The old way would be to worry about it, to scheme, to beg. The new way, the way of feeling, is to close your eyes and imagine holding the check or seeing the balance in your account. But do not just see the numbers. Feel the relief. Feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. Feel the security of knowing your bills are paid. Feel the generosity of being able to share with others. Bathe in that feeling. Let it saturate your mind like water saturating a sponge. Do this until you can summon that feeling at will. Then, when you open your eyes and see the old bank balance, do not react. Recall the feeling. Overlay the feeling of abundance onto the fact of lack. Walk through your day carrying that secret feeling of wealth. Buy your coffee with the feeling of a millionaire. Pay your bill with the feeling of infinite supply. By doing this, you are bending reality. You are forcing the 3D world to conform to your 4D feeling. The gap between the two must close. It is law. You must also understand that feeling is contagious. When you walk around with the feeling of success, people sense it. They do not know why, but they want to be around you. They want to hire you. They want to love you. You become magnetic. You are broadcasting a signal that says, I am a winner. I am valuable. I am safe. The world responds to this signal by confirming it. You attract people and circumstances that match your emotional state. If you walk around with the feeling of a victim, you attract bullies. If you walk around with the feeling of a king, you attract a kingdom. This is why you must take responsibility for your feelings. No one puts a feeling in you. You choose it. You react. You have the power to choose a different reaction. You have the power to choose a different mood. By mastering your mood, you master your world. Do not underestimate the power of gratitude as a catalyst for this process. Gratitude is the ultimate feeling of having received. You cannot genuinely feel grateful for something you do not believe you have. Therefore, practicing gratitude for your desire before it arrives is the most powerful way to trick the subconscious. Say thank you for your healing. Say thank you for your new home. Say it until you feel the tears of gratitude welling up in your eyes. Those tears are the waters of life. They are the proof that you have accepted the gift in the Spirit. Once accepted in the Spirit, it must appear in the flesh. This is the acceleration code. Gratitude collapses time. It brings the future into the present moment. In conclusion of this section, remember that you are a musical instrument. Your thoughts are the notes, but your feelings are the music. You can play the notes of I am wealthy, but if the instrument is out of tune with fear, the music will be discordant. You must tune your instrument. You must bring your heart into coherence with your head. When your thought and your feeling are married, they give birth to the miracle. Do not be afraid of your feelings. Harness them. Ride them like a wave. Use the intense energy of your emotions to propel your vision forward. You are not a robot. You are a vibrant, feeling being of light. Use that fire. Burn the image of your desire into the fabric of the universe with the heat of your passion. Feel it until it is real. Feel it until it is done. Feel it and you will see it. We have explored the architecture of words and the fire of feeling, but now we must enter the secret laboratory where your reality is actually manufactured. This laboratory is the unceasing, invisible dialogue that takes place within your own mind. We call this inner conversation. Most people believe that their thoughts are private, fleeting things that have no impact on the solid world around them. They believe that they can hold a mental argument with a boss, a spouse, or a politician, and that as long as they do not speak the words aloud, there are no consequences. This is the single greatest delusion of the human race. I am here to tell you that your inner conversations are the most creative force in your universe. They are not merely thoughts, they are the rehearsals of tomorrow. The world you see around you is nothing more than your inner conversations frozen in time and pushed out into space. You are constantly writing a script in the silence of your mind, and the people in your life are merely actors who have no choice but to memorize your lines and perform them back to you. If you want to change the play, you must stop yelling at the actors and start rewriting the script in the privacy of your own head. Let us examine the nature of this internal chatter. From the moment you wake up until the moment you drift off to sleep, there is a voice in your head. It is commenting, judging, arguing, and justifying. Scientists tell us that we think thousands of thoughts a day. But if you look closely, you will see that most of these thoughts are actually dialogues. You are talking to someone. You are explaining yourself to an imaginary critic. You are winning an argument that you lost yesterday. You are telling a friend about your bad luck. You are rehearsing a confrontation. What you do not realize is that this internal speech is the seed of your external experience. The subconscious mind does not know that you are just venting. It hears the argument. It feels the emotion of the conflict, and it says, "This is what the master wants." It then goes out and arranges the circumstances of your life to ensure that you encounter conflict. It creates the very argument you rehearsed. It hardens the hearts of the people around you so that they treat you exactly as you imagined they would. This principle is the master key to changing the behavior of others. Many of you are struggling with difficult people. You have a critical parent, a distant partner, or a tyrannical boss. You try to change them through external means. You argue with them, you plead with them, you try to please them, or you give them the silent treatment. None of this works because you are fighting the reflection. The person standing before you is reflecting your inner conversation about them. If you carry on a mental dialogue where you hear them criticizing you, they must criticize you in the flesh. They are compelled by the law of thought transmission to play the part you have assigned them. You are the puppeteer, and your inner speech is the string. If you want them to change, you must change the conversation you are having with them in your imagination. You must stop the old record and record a new one. Here is the practical application of this power. Suppose you have a boss who is always demanding and unappreciative. Every morning on your way to work, you probably have a mental conversation where you hear him complaining and you feel yourself getting defensive. You are pre-paving your day with stress. To break this cycle, you must intervene. In the silence of your meditation, bring your boss before your mind's eye. But this time, change the script. Hear his voice, but hear him saying what you want to hear. Hear him say, "You are doing an excellent job. I appreciate you. You are a valuable asset." Hear it with the distinct tones of reality. Feel the relief and the pride that would come from hearing those words. Do not wonder if he would ever say that. Do not let your logical mind tell you it is impossible. Just hear it, loop it, replay it until it feels natural. When you do this, you are sending a telepathic command. You are changing the frequency of the relationship. You will be amazed to find that the next time you see him, his demeanor will have softened. He will use the very phrases you placed in his mouth. He will not know why he is doing it, but he will be unable to act otherwise because you have changed the script. This technique applies to every relationship in your life. If you are lonely and desire a partner, look at your inner speech. Are you walking around having conversations with yourself about how hard it is to meet people? Are you telling your imaginary friends that you are always rejected? You are commanding rejection. You must start holding inner conversations that imply you are already loved. Hear a partner telling you how beautiful you are. Hear them thanking you for being in their life. Hear yourself telling your best friend, "I am so happy I found the one." When your inner speech matches the reality of your fulfilled desire, the person must appear. The universe abhors a vacuum. If you create the conversational space for love, love must fill it. You are preparing the room for the guest. You must also become aware of how you talk about yourself within yourself. The most destructive conversations are the ones where you justify your failures. You tell yourself stories about why you can't have what you want. I'm too old, I don't have the education, the economy is bad. These are not facts, they are decrees. You are arguing for your limitations, and as the old saying goes, if you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. You must stop the self-pitying monologue. You must become a ruthless editor of your mind. When you catch yourself complaining mentally, shout "stop" in your mind. Replace the complaint with a declaration of gratitude. Replace the story of victimhood with the story of victory. You must become your own greatest encourager. Speak to yourself as you would speak to a god, for that is what you are. The mastery of inner speech requires a heightened level of self-observation. Most people are asleep at the wheel of their own minds. They let their thoughts run wild like a driverless car. You must wake up. You must watch your mind like a cat watching a mouse hole. Every time a negative conversation tries to emerge, you pounce on it. You do not fight it with tension. You transmute it with revision. If you have a disagreement with your spouse in the morning, do not spend the rest of the day replaying the nasty words. That will only guarantee a second argument in the evening. Instead, revise it instantly. Replay the scene in your mind, but hear them apologizing. Hear them saying, "I didn't mean it. I love you." Feel the forgiveness washing over you. By doing this, you stop the momentum of the negativity. You cut the fuse before the bomb can explode. You heal the timeline. This practice is the true meaning of the biblical injunction to turn the other cheek. It does not mean to let people abuse you physically. It means to turn the other cheek of your consciousness. If someone strikes you with a negative word, do not strike back with a negative inner conversation. Turn your attention to a different conversation, a higher one. Assume the best of them in your mind, even if they showed you their worst. By doing this, you save yourself from the poison of resentment, and you give them a chance to rise to your higher expectation. You become a redeemer. You redeem people from their bad behavior by refusing to accept it as the final truth in your inner world. You hold the vision of their best self until they are compelled to step into it. Consider the power of the congratulatory conversation. This is one of the most potent tools in the Neville Goddard arsenal. If you want a promotion, do not just imagine sitting in the new office. Imagine a specific person congratulating you. Choose a friend or family member whose voice is distinct. Hear them say, "I knew you could do it. I am so proud of you." Hear the excitement in their voice. Feel the reality of their hand shaking yours. Why is this so powerful? Because congratulations imply that the event has already happened. It puts you in the state of the end. It bypasses the how and goes straight to the completion. Use this for everything. If you want health, hear your doctor saying, "It's a miracle. You are perfectly healthy." If you want wealth, hear your accountant saying, "Your investments are skyrocketing." These inner sound bites are the seeds of your future. Plant them deliberately. You will find that as you change your inner speech, your outer speech changes as well. You will lose the desire to gossip. You will lose the desire to complain. You will find that you have nothing to say about the disasters of the world because you are no longer building a home there. Your silence will become as powerful as your speech. You will walk through the world with a secret smile, knowing that you are carrying the kingdom of heaven within you. You are carrying the power to shape atoms with your thoughts. This makes you dangerous to the status quo of misery. You become a light that exposes the darkness of collective negativity. People will be drawn to you because your inner atmosphere is clean. They will feel safe around you because you are not mentally attacking them. You are mentally blessing them. This discipline is not easy. It is the hardest work you will ever do. It is easier to dig a ditch than to control your mind for 1 hour. The old conversations have momentum. They are like deep ruts in a muddy road. Your wheels want to slide back into them. You must be vigilant. You must steer the car of your mind with strong hands. But the reward is a life of absolute dominion. When you master your inner speech, you master your world. There is no other cause. If you can control what you say to yourself, you can control what the world says to you. You stop being a reactive creature and become a proactive creator. You stop living in the echo and start living in the source. Do not be discouraged if you slip. You will slip. You will find yourself 10 minutes into a mental argument before you realize what you are doing. Do not condemn yourself. Guilt is just another negative inner conversation. Simply stop, breathe, rewind, and press record on a new track. Say, "That is the old man talking. He is dead. I am the new man." And begin the conversation of the new man. Persistence is the key. You are building a new mental muscle. At first, it is weak, but with daily exercise, it becomes steel. Eventually, the positive, constructive inner speech will become your default setting. It will become natural to hear good news. It will become natural to expect favor. And when that happens, your outer world will be a paradise of your own making. I challenge you to try this for 1 week. Commit to a 7-day mental diet. Refuse to dwell on any negative inner conversation. If a negative thought comes, replace it instantly. If you argue with someone in your mind, revise it to a loving exchange. Watch what happens in your physical reality. You will see coincidences that will shock you. You will see people change before your eyes. You will see doors open that have been locked for years. You will realize that you have held the key all along. The key is your tongue, the silent tongue of your mind. Use it to bless. Use it to build. Use it to decree the perfect world that you were sent here to enjoy. Your inner conversation is the prayer that is always answered. Make sure you are praying for what you want, not what you fear. Before we move into the paradox of power, where you will learn why trying hard is actually the enemy of manifestation, and how to enter the sacred state of relaxation, I want to invite you to make a commitment to your own mastery. You have just learned how to rewrite the script of your life through inner speech. But this knowledge serves no one if it remains a theory. If you are ready to take full responsibility for your reality, if you are ready to stop being a victim of your thoughts and become the architect of your destiny, click the subscribe button below. Join this community of conscious creators. Give this video a like to seal your intention, and let us now discover how to let go of the struggle and allow the miracle to enter through the power of the Sabbath. We have explored the architecture of words and the discipline of inner speech, but now we must confront the greatest paradox in the mechanics of creation. It is a truth so profound, yet so contrary to human conditioning, that it has escaped the notice of the busy and striving world. That truth is this: relaxation is the key to the fulfillment of every desire. You have been taught that to get what you want, you must fight for it. You have been told that value is measured by sweat, that success is the result of struggle, and that nothing good comes without a sacrifice of pain. But in the realm of the spirit, this is false. Effort is not the path to power, it is the evidence of doubt. When you struggle, you are declaring to the universe that you do not have what you seek. You are affirming separation. The creative power of your own wonderful human imagination works best not in the heat of battle, but in the cool of the day. It operates in stillness, not striving. Therefore, to master the law of assumption, you must master the art of deep spiritual relaxation. You must learn to enter the state of the Sabbath. The Sabbath is not a day of the week on a calendar. It is not a religious observance of doing nothing on a Sunday. It is a psychological state of rest. It is the mental attitude that follows a successful act of creation. When the scriptures say that God rested on the seventh day, it does not mean that the infinite power got tired. It means that the work was finished. The idea was complete. The decree was established. There was nothing left to do but to witness the unfolding. You enter the Sabbath when you are so convinced of your imaginal act that you no longer feel the need to force it into being. You rest in the deep knowing that it is done. This rest is the acid test of your faith. If you are still worried, if you are still anxious, if you are still trying to figure out how it will happen, you have not entered the Sabbath. You are still working, which means you do not believe it is finished. To manifest your desire, you must move from the state of the worker to the state of the witness. Let us examine the law of reverse effort. This law states that the harder you consciously try to do something, the less likely you are to succeed. It is like being caught in quicksand. The more you thrash and struggle to escape, the deeper you sink. The struggle acts as a confirmation to your subconscious mind that you are in danger, that you are lacking, and that you do not have what you desire. Therefore, the subconscious, obedient to your feeling of struggle, creates more obstacles to justify your effort. But when you relax, when you float, the water lifts you up. When you stop trying to force the door open and realize you hold the key, the door unlocks itself. You must understand that the subconscious mind accepts what you surrender to, not what you fight for. If you grit your teeth and try to force yourself to feel wealthy, you will only feel the strain of your poverty. But if you relax into the feeling of wealth, if you slip into it like a warm bath, the subconscious accepts it without resistance. Relaxation effectively shuts out the sensory world. When you are tense, your attention is fixated on the outer world of problems and limitations. Your muscles are tight because you are preparing for a physical threat. This tension anchors you in the 3D reality. It keeps you trapped in the evidence of your senses. But when you relax, when you let go of the tension in your body and the anxiety in your mind, you detach from the outer world. The grip of the senses loosens. In this state of physical immobility and mental calm, the door to the inner world swings open. You become porous to the divine. You become capable of hearing the still, small voice of your own intuition. You become a clear channel for the creative power to flow through. You cannot plant a seed in concrete. You must plant it in soft, yielding soil. Your relaxed mind is that soil. This state of relaxation is essential for the practice of feeling it real. Many people try to visualize their desires while they are stressed or distracted. They close their eyes for a moment, try to see a picture, but their mind is racing with the to-do list of the day. This is futile. You cannot imprint the subconscious when the surface of the mind is agitated. You must calm the waters. Before you attempt any imaginal act, you must spend time inducing a state of relaxation. You must slow your breathing. You must release the tension in your shoulders, your jaw, your hands. You must bring yourself to the edge of sleep, where the rational mind is tired and the imaginative mind is awake. In this state, you are no longer a person fighting the world. You are a spirit creating a world. The images you hold in this relaxed state are accepted instantly. They sink deep into the subconscious without the interference of your doubts. Do not confuse this relaxation with lethargy or laziness. It is not a passive state of giving up. It is a dynamic state of active expectancy. It is the alertness of a cat watching a mouse hole completely still, yet poised with total focus. It is the calm of the master who knows he has already won the game. When you walk through your day in this state of inner Sabbath, you are magnetic. People are drawn to your peace. Opportunities gravitate toward your stability. You move with a rhythm that is in sync with the universe. You take action, yes, but it is inspired action. It flows effortlessly from your state of being. You do not force doors open. You walk through them as they open for you. The difference between forced action and inspired action is the difference between rowing a boat upstream and putting up a sail to catch the wind. Relaxation is raising the sail. Consider the biological necessity of rest. Muscles grow when you rest, not when you lift the weight. The lifting tears the muscle. The rest repairs and builds it. Your imagination lifts the weight when you perform the creative act. Now, Your life must rest so the new structure can be built. Do not tear down the building by constantly checking the foundation. Let the cement dry. Let the reality harden into fact. There is a holiness to this time. It is a sacred pause. It is the silence between the notes that makes the music beautiful. If you are constantly picking at the seed of your desire with the sharp fingernails of your anxiety, you will kill it. You must leave it alone in the darkness of the soil. You must trust the gestation period. The Sabbath is the time when you allow the Father within to do the work. We must also address the addiction to struggle. Many of you are addicted to the adrenaline of stress. You feel that if you are not worrying, you are not being responsible. You feel that if you are not exhausted, you are not worthy of the reward. You must break this addiction. You must realize that ease is your birthright. The trees do not struggle to grow. The planets do not struggle to spin. The entire cosmos operates on the principle of least effort. Why should you be the exception? You are part of this cosmic dance. When you align with the principle of relaxation, you align with the power that spins the galaxies. You stop trying to power your life with your small, limited ego and start powering it with the infinite generator of the universe. You surrender the little I to the great I am. If you find yourself slipping out of the Sabbath, if the old anxiety returns, do not judge yourself. Do not fight the anxiety, for that is just more tension. Simply notice it. Acknowledge that you have stepped out of the state of rest. Then gently, lovingly guide yourself back. Take a deep breath. Release the tension. Remind yourself of the vision you saw in the silence. Say to yourself, it is done. I do not need to worry about this anymore. The papers are signed in the Spirit. Re-enter the feeling of relief. Relief is the emotional signature of the Sabbath. It is the feeling you have when a heavy burden is lifted from your back. Practice this feeling of relief until it becomes your dominant mood. Wear it like a fragrance. Let it precede you into every room. This practice of entering the Sabbath requires you to trust the invisible more than the visible. The visible world will tell you that nothing has changed. It will show you the same old problems. But the person in the Sabbath does not care. They look at the problems with a secret smile, knowing that they are just shadows of a past that is already dead. They know that the new reality is germinating underground, and nothing can stop it from breaking the surface. This unwavering loyalty to the unseen reality is what separates the master from the novice. The novice needs signs to believe. The master believes and becomes the sign. The master rests in the finished work before the work is seen by men. Ultimately, the Sabbath is a declaration of victory. When you sit down and rest, you are telling the universe that the battle is over and you have won. You are not waiting for the victory parade to celebrate. You celebrate now by resting. This attitude is invincible. It creates a vacuum that the universe must fill with your desire. The outer world hates a vacuum. If you create a space of peace and expectancy, the substance of your desire rushes in to fill it. But if you are full of worry and noise, there is no room for the new to enter. Empty yourself of the struggle. Empty yourself of the need to control. Be still and know that you are God. So, I invite you to make a covenant with yourself today. Promise yourself that you will stop glorifying busyness. Promise yourself that you will stop wearing your stress as a badge of honor. Commit to the discipline of relaxation. Dedicate time every day to enter the silence, to immobilize the body, and to quiet the mind. In that holy stillness, perform your imaginal act, feel the reality of it, and then enter the rest. Carry that rest with you like a shield. When the world throws chaos at you, meet it with your Sabbath. Meet it with your stillness. You will find that the chaos breaks against your peace like waves against a rock. You will find that you become the eye of the storm, the center of calm around which the world organizes itself. This is the way of the adept. This is the way of the Creator. Relax and watch the salvation of the Lord unfold before your eyes. We have entered the silence. We have relaxed into the state of the wish fulfilled, and we have touched the Sabbath of the soul. Now we must understand the inevitable consequence of this internal work. We must explore the mechanics of how a mere thought, lighter than air and invisible to the eye, transforms into the hard, solid facts of your daily existence. This process is what Neville Goddard called the law, that an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. This phrase is the cornerstone of conscious creation. It implies a malleability to reality that the logical mind finds terrifying, but the spiritual mind finds liberating. You must come to view your physical world not as a fixed statue made of granite, but as a fluid ocean of energy that is constantly freezing and melting based on the temperature of your consciousness. When you hold an assumption with conviction, you are lowering the temperature. You are slowing down the energy of the invisible state until it crystallizes into the ice of physical circumstance. This process is automatic, mechanical, and impersonal. It does not require your physical labor. It requires your psychological persistence. To understand how an assumption hardens, you must first understand the nature of a fact. We are taught from childhood to worship facts. We are told that facts are stubborn things, that they are the final authority, and that we must bow to them. But I tell you that a fact is nothing more than a hardened assumption. Every building you see, every law that governs society, every condition of your body, and every number in your bank account was once merely an invisible idea in the mind of a man or woman. They sustained that idea, they fed it with feeling, and eventually the universal substance coalesced around that idea to form a fact. Therefore, if you do not like the facts of your life, you have the power to melt them back into fluid energy and recast them into new forms. You do this by withdrawing your attention from the current facts, which starves them of their life force, and placing your full attention on the new assumption, which feeds it the energy it needs to harden. The catalyst for this hardening process is the feeling of naturalness. This is a subtle point that separates the masters from the students. An assumption will not harden into fact as long as it feels like a miracle or a fantasy. As long as your desire feels too big or too wonderful for you, it remains a dream floating above your head. To make it harden, you must bring it down to earth. You must wear the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it feels entirely natural to you. You must reach the point where having your desire feels as normal as wearing your old shoes. If you want to be wealthy, you must walk in the assumption of wealth until the idea of being poor feels strange and the idea of being rich feels like your default setting. The subconscious mind accepts only what feels natural. It rejects the alien. Therefore, your work in the silence is to acclimatize yourself to the altitude of your desire. You must visit the state of your wish fulfilled so often that you feel at home there. When the state becomes your dwelling place rather than a vacation spot, the hardening process accelerates rapidly. We must also discuss the bridge of incidence. When an assumption begins to harden into fact, it does not usually poof into existence out of thin air like a magic trick. It unfolds through a series of natural, often seemingly coincidental events. This series of events is the bridge you walk across from your old reality to your new one. You might assume you have a new job. The hardening process might look like you getting fired from your current job. To the sleeping man, this looks like a disaster. He panics. He thinks his assumption failed. But to the awakened man, this is the cracking of the shell. The old structure must collapse to make way for the new. You might meet a stranger at a coffee shop who happens to know the hiring manager of your dream company. You might find a book that gives you the exact idea you need. These are the bricks of the bridge. You do not build the bridge. The bridge creates itself under the compulsion of your assumption. Your only job is to walk across it with faith, trusting that even the difficult steps are leading you to the fulfillment of your decree. The hardening process is a result of your inner conviction. Conviction is the inner atmosphere that solidifies energy. If you are constantly changing your mind, digging up your seed, and questioning your worth, you are keeping the energy in a liquid state. You are like a potter who keeps smashing the clay back down before it has a chance to be fired in the kiln. You must develop a stubbornness of spirit. You must look at the evidence of your senses, which denies your assumption, and say, "You are a liar. My inner vision is the truth." You must be like the sculptor who sees the angel in the marble and refuses to acknowledge the rough stone that obscures it. He chips away everything that is not the angel. You must chip away every thought, every emotion, and every conversation that is not in alignment with your assumption. This persistence acts as the heat in the kiln. It bakes the clay. It turns the soft, malleable thought into the hard, durable fact. You will know that the assumption is hardening when you no longer feel the desperate need to change the external world. When you have truly accepted the state within, the outer world loses its power to trigger you. You look at the empty bank account and you do not feel fear. You feel a secret amusement, knowing that it is just a temporary shadow that is about to pass. You look at the illness and you do not feel despair. You feel the vitality of the health you have claimed. This internal stability is the signal that the concrete is setting. If you are still reacting violently to the 3D world, the concrete is still wet. You must go back into the silence. You must go back into the Sabbath. You must reinforce the internal structure until it is strong enough to withstand the pressure of the senses. Consider the identity shift that occurs when an assumption hardens. You do not get what you want, you get who you are. The hardening process is actually the crystallization of a new identity. You are moving from the state of I want to be to the state of I am. When you assume that you are a person of value, people begin to treat you with respect. They do not know why. They are simply responding to the hardened fact of your self-concept. You radiate a different signal. Your posture changes, your voice changes, the micro-expressions on your face change. The world is a pattern recognition machine, and it recognizes the pattern you are broadcasting. If you broadcast the pattern of a victim, the world hardens into a prison. If you broadcast the pattern of a king, the world hardens into a palace. You are the one who chooses the mold. There is a timeline to this hardening that requires your patience. Every seed has its own appointed hour. A baby takes 9 months. A bamboo tree takes 5 years. Your desire has a natural gestation period that is governed by the laws of the universe. Do not try to force the hardening. If you open the oven before the bread is baked, it collapses. If you try to force the facts to appear before the inner work is complete, you create chaos. You must trust the timing. You must remain faithful to the assumption, even when the trail seems cold. There will be moments when it seems like nothing is happening. This is the midnight of the manifestation. It is always darkest before the dawn. In these moments, you must double down on your loyalty to the unseen. You must walk by faith, not by sight. The fact is forming in the darkness, just as the child forms in the darkness of the womb. Let us speak of the irreversibility of a hardened fact. Once an assumption has truly hardened into character and belief, it becomes a destiny. It becomes difficult to stop. This is why it is so hard for a poor man to become rich and a rich man to become poor. They are both trapped in the hardened facts of their self-concepts. The poor man assumes lack, so he loses even when he wins the lottery. The rich man assumes wealth, so he recovers even after he goes bankrupt. The external events are fluid. The internal assumption is the rock. To change your life, you must break the old rocks of your limiting beliefs. You do this by withdrawing your consciousness from them. You stop telling the old stories. You stop identifying with the old trauma. You let the old facts crumble from neglect, and you pour your energy into the new mold of your ideal. This process is not for the faint of heart. It requires a radical denial of the present moment in favor of a future truth. It requires you to be absent from the body and present with the Lord, which means absent from the physical evidence and present with your imagination. You must become a person who lives in 2 worlds simultaneously. You walk through the physical world doing what is necessary, paying your bills, washing your dishes, but your heart is living in the mansion of your dreams. You are physically here, but psychologically there. Eventually, the here dissolves, and the there becomes the only reality. The 2 worlds merge. The assumption and the fact become one. This is the marriage of the Lamb. This is the union of the human and the divine. Be careful what you assume in your idle moments. The law is always working. It does not turn off when you are not paying attention. If you assume that you are getting sick because you sneezed, you are hardening sickness into fact. If you assume that a person is angry with you because they didn't text back, you are hardening conflict into fact. You are constantly solidifying your reality with your reactions. You must become a vigilant guardian of your assumptions. You must catch the negative assumption before it has time to set. You must reverse it instantly. Say to yourself, no, that is not true. I assume they are busy. I assume I am healthy. I assume all is well. By steering your small, daily assumptions, you steer the great ship of your life. The beauty of this law is that it gives you total responsibility and total power. You are not a victim of your genetics, your upbringing, or your stars. You are a victim or a victor based on your assumptions. If you assume you are destined for greatness, the universe will conspire to make you great. It will give you the challenges necessary to build your strength and the opportunities necessary to display it. It will harden your assumption into a destiny that looks inevitable in hindsight. But you must be the one to hold the vision. You must be the one to sustain the tone. You must be the one to refuse to let the assumption die. As you practice this, you will begin to see the world as it truly is, a playground of consciousness. You will see that the buildings, the businesses, the institutions that seem so permanent are just the shadows of men's ideas. You will realize that you have the same power to create shadows. You can create a shadow of health that overlays your sickness until the sickness vanishes. You can create a shadow of wealth that overlays your poverty until the poverty vanishes. You are the light that casts the shadow. Do not be afraid of the shadows you have created in the past. They cannot hurt you. Move the light, and the shadow moves. Change the assumption, and the fact changes. So, I challenge you today to identify the one fact in your life that you most wish to change. Is it a fact of loneliness? A fact of debt? A fact of failure? Look at it. Acknowledge that it is only a hardened assumption from yesterday. It has no life of its own. Now, turn your back on it. Assume the new state. Assume it with the feeling of relief. Assume it with the feeling of naturalness. Sleep in that assumption tonight. Walk in that assumption tomorrow. Ignore the evidence that contradicts it. Persist. And as surely as the sun rises, that assumption will harden into a new fact that will astound you and everyone around you. You are the alchemist. Your mind is the laboratory. Your assumption is the stone that turns base metal into gold. We have discussed the hardening of assumptions into facts, but there remains a vital physiological bridge that connects your intellectual understanding of the law with the visceral experience of your body. That bridge is the breath. It is said in the ancient text that God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. This is not merely a story of the origin of the species. It is a description of the creative process that you are enacting every single day. Your desire is the dust of the ground, formless and lifeless, until you breathe the breath of life into it. Many of you have mastered the mental aspect of assumption, but you have neglected the somatic aspect. You try to hold a feeling of wealth while your breath is shallow and anxious. You try to feel health while your body is constricted. To fully integrate the state of the wish fulfilled, you must learn to synchronize your spirit with your biology. You must learn the art of breathing truth. This practical exercise is the method by which you bypass the resistance of the conscious mind and deliver the command directly to the nervous system, which is the physical interface of the subconscious. Understand that there is a direct, unbreakable feedback loop between your breath and your state of consciousness. When you are afraid, your breath becomes short, rapid, and located high in the chest. When you are angry, your breath becomes jagged and forceful. But when you are safe, when you are satisfied, when you are in the presence of a loved one, your breath becomes deep, rhythmic, and slow. Most people allow their emotional states to dictate their breathing, but the master reverses this. The master uses his breathing to dictate his emotional state. If you want to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must breathe as the person who has the wish fulfilled. How would you breathe if you just received the news that you won the lottery? You would likely take a sharp intake of breath followed by a long, heavy sigh of relief. That sigh is a chemical signal to the body that the danger is over and the reward is secured. By consciously replicating this breathing pattern, You can reverse engineer the feeling of success. You can trick the body into believing the event has already occurred. Let us explore the etymology of the word inspiration. It literally means to breathe in. To be inspired is to be filled with the breath of the Spirit. When you have a desire, that desire is an inspiration. It is the universe trying to breathe a new reality into you. To accept this reality, you must physically breathe it in. I want you to think of your desire not just as a visual image, but as an atmosphere. Imagine that the state of wealth has a specific scent. Imagine that the state of health has a crisp, fresh aroma. Imagine that the state of love carries a perfume. When you perform your imaginal acts, you must inhale these atmospheres. You must breathe them into the very bottom of your lungs. As you inhale, imagine that you are pulling the energy of your future into your present body. You are not just thinking about it, you are metabolizing it. You are turning the etheric idea into physical energy. This act of conscious inhalation serves to anchor the wandering mind. The mind cannot be in the future or the past, while you are consciously focusing on the breath. The breath is always now. By tying your assumption to your breath, you lock your assumption into the eternal now. Now, let us move into the practical application of this exercise. I want you to find a place where you will not be disturbed. Sit in a chair with your spine straight, or lie flat on your back. Close your eyes and turn your attention to the natural rhythm of your breath. Do not try to force it at first. Simply observe it. Notice how the air moves in and out without your effort. This is the first lesson. The power that sustains you is effortless. Now begin to deepen the breath. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold the breath at the top for a count of 2. Exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. This longer exhalation is critical because it triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation response. As we discussed in the previous section, relaxation is the key to the Sabbath. You cannot impress the subconscious when you are in a state of fight or flight. You must use the breath to lower your brain waves into the alpha state, the state of receptive creativity. Continue this rhythmic breathing until you feel a heavy warmth spreading through your limbs. This is the signal that the gate is open. Once you have established this rhythm, you will begin the act of breathing truth. On the inhalation, I want you to mentally hear the first half of your chosen decree. For example, if your decree is I am wealthy, on the inhale you mentally hear I am. As you inhale I am, imagine you are drawing in raw, unformed creative power from the universe. You are gathering the clay. Then, on the exhalation, you mentally hear the word wealthy. As you exhale wealthy, imagine you are settling into that state. You are releasing all resistance to wealth. You are letting the reality of wealth settle into your bones. I am on the inhale, wealthy on the exhale. I am on the inhale, healed on the exhale. I am on the inhale, loved on the exhale. The inhalation is the act of claiming. The exhalation is the act of being. The inhalation is the tension of desire. The exhalation is the relief of fulfillment. You create a rhythmic loop that hypnotizes the logical mind into submission. As you continue this practice, you may notice that your body begins to react. You might feel tingling in your hands or feet. You might feel a sudden expansion in your chest. You might even feel tears welling up in your eyes. These are excellent signs. These are symptoms that the energy is moving. The assumption is moving from a cold mental concept to a hot biological reality. You are literally rewriting your cellular memory. Your body has been addicted to the chemistry of stress and lack for years. By breathing in the chemistry of abundance and peace, you are breaking the addiction. You are giving your cells a new signal. If you do this for 10 or 15 minutes, you will reach a point of saturation. You will feel full. You will feel that you cannot inhale any more truth because you have become the truth. This is the moment of conception. There is a specific variation of this exercise that Neville Goddard often alluded to, which involves the sense of smell. The sense of smell is the most direct pathway to the emotional center of the brain. It bypasses the logical filters completely. In your relaxed state, as you inhale, I want you to imagine you are smelling the environment of your wish fulfilled. If you want a new car, smell the new leather. If you want to be at the ocean, smell the salt air. If you want money, smell the crisp paper of the bills or the old ink of a check. If you want a baby, smell the scent of baby powder. It does not matter if the scent is physically there, your brain will light up as if it were. This olfactory visualization is incredibly potent. It tricks the brain into believing you are physically present in the desired location. Breathe in the scent of your success. Let it intoxicate you. Let it trigger the memories of the future that you are creating. We must also discuss the sigh of relief. This is perhaps the most powerful tool in your breathing arsenal. The sigh is the universal physiological sound of completion. When a heavy task is finished, you sigh. When a danger has passed, you sigh. When you finally sit down after a long day, you sigh. The sigh says, "It is finished." You can use this mechanism in reverse to produce the feeling of the Sabbath. In your meditation, take a deep breath and then let it out with an audible sigh of relief. As you sigh, feel the tension of waiting leaving your body. Feel the weight of the how and the when falling off your shoulders. Do this repeatedly. Sigh until you actually feel relieved. You are reverse engineering the state of satisfaction. The body cannot distinguish between a sigh caused by a physical event and a sigh caused by a deliberate mental act. By sighing, you are telling your body that the desire is fulfilled, and the body will then send that signal to the subconscious mind, closing the loop of creation. You can use this breathing truth technique anywhere. You do not always need to close your eyes. If you are in a stressful meeting at work, you can do it silently. Inhale, I am. Exhale, peace. If you are walking down the street and see something that triggers your insecurity, you can do it rhythmically with your steps. Inhale, I am. Exhale, secure. This turns your breath into a shield. It prevents the negativity of the world from penetrating your consciousness. It keeps you anchored in your chosen reality. It is a portable sanctuary that you can carry with you into the darkest valleys. It ensures that you are always breathing the air of heaven, even when you are walking through the atmosphere of hell. Remember that the word spirit comes from the Latin spiritus, which means breath. To breathe consciously is to spiritualize your body. When you are anxious, you are disconnected from the spirit. You are trapped in the ego. The ego gasps, the spirit breathes. When you slow your breath, you reconnect the ego to the spirit. You allow the higher power to take over the functions of your life. Many of you are trying to manifest from the level of the ego using force and strain. This is like trying to push a car that has run out of gas. Breathing truth puts gas back in the tank. It aligns you with the infinite energy source. It allows you to drive the vehicle of your life with ease and grace. This exercise also serves to silence the inner critic. It is very difficult to hold a negative thought while you are consciously focusing on a rhythmic breath and a mantra. The mind cannot hold two opposing foci at the same time. By occupying the mind with the breath and the I am statement, you crowd out the doubts. You displace the old inner conversations. If a doubt tries to enter, you simply breathe it out. You visualize the doubt leaving your body on the exhalation like dark smoke, and you visualize the truth entering your body on the inhalation like white light. You become a filtration system, constantly purifying your own consciousness. I challenge you to make this a daily practice, specifically in the moments before you drift off to sleep. We spoke of SATS, state akin to sleep, earlier, and breathing is the most effective way to induce this state. Lie in bed, turn off the lights, begin the rhythmic breathing, inhale your new identity, exhale your old identity. Do this until the concepts become feelings and the feelings become heavy with sleep. If you fall asleep while performing this exercise, you are carrying the rhythm of truth into the deep of the night. Your subconscious will continue to breathe that truth for the next 8 hours. You will wake up vibrating at a different frequency. You will wake up with the momentum of success already established. Do not underestimate the simplicity of this. The complex mind loves complex solutions, but the spiritual truth is always simple. You are alive because you breathe. You will be spiritually alive when you breathe consciously. Your breath is the umbilical cord that connects you to the womb of the universe. Do not cut the cord with shallow, anxious breathing. Widen the channel. Breathe deeply. Breathe fully. Breathe as if you are trying to fill every corner of your being with the presence of God, because that is exactly what you are doing. You are filling the mold of your assumption with the breath of life. So right now, wherever you are, take a breath. Not a shallow survival breath, but a creation breath. Inhale the possibility of your life. Inhale the abundance that is floating in the quantum field around you. Hold it, claim it, and then exhale the fear. Exhale the limitation. Exhale the past. Feel the shift in your body. That shift is real. That shift is the beginning of the miracle. You have just performed an act of magic. You have transmuted energy. Keep doing it. Keep breathing your reality into existence until the invisible becomes visible and the dream becomes the fact. You are the breather and the breath. You are the creator and the creation. Breathe and live. We have arrived at the phase of the journey where the vast majority of seekers falter and fail. It is the valley of the shadow of death, the silence between the prayer and the answer, the empty space between the imaginal act and the physical manifestation. This is the period you call waiting. To the unawakened mind, waiting is a form of torture. It is a confirmation of absence. It is a void filled with anxiety, where the ego screams that the law has failed and that you have been fooled. But I am here to tell you that your definition of waiting is fundamentally flawed. You are viewing time through the lens of a victim rather than the lens of a creator. In the physics of the spirit, there is no such thing as waiting in the sense of lack. There is only gestation. There is a massive, life-altering difference between waiting for something to happen and gestating a reality that has already been conceived. If you can grasp this distinction, you will never again experience a moment of impatience in your life. You will understand that the silence is not empty, it is pregnant. Consider the miracle of biological birth, for the laws of the body are merely shadows of the laws of the mind. When a woman conceives a child, the child is real from the very first moment. It exists, it has a destiny. But there is a necessary interval of 9 months before that child can be held in her arms. During those 9 months, does the woman pace the floor in agony, crying out that she is not a mother? Does she say, "I am waiting to be pregnant"? No. She says, "I am pregnant." She prepares the nursery, she buys the clothes, she names the child. She walks with the dignity and care of someone who carries a second life within her. She understands that the interval is not a delay, it is a necessity. The child is being knit together in the darkness of the womb. Organs are forming. A heart is learning to beat. If she were to demand that the child be born in 2 months, because she was impatient, she would produce a tragedy, not a life. The gestation period is the mercy of nature, ensuring that the creation is viable. Your desire is your spiritual child. The moment you successfully performed the imaginal act, the moment you felt the reality of your wish fulfilled and entered the Sabbath, conception occurred. The sperm of your idea fertilized the egg of your subconscious mind. You are now, quite literally, pregnant with your new reality. The interval you are currently experiencing is the gestation period. The physical world is dense and heavy. It moves slower than the speed of thought. It takes time for the invisible energy to organize itself into visible matter. It takes time for the bridge of incidents to be constructed. While you see nothing happening on the surface, the entire universe is working feverishly behind the scenes to orchestrate your fulfillment. People are being moved into position. Opportunities are being aligned. The structure of your new life is being built in the dark so that it can be revealed in the light. If you view this time as waiting, you introduce the vibration of lack, which aborts the seed. If you view this time as gestation, you introduce the vibration of expectancy, which nurtures the seed. Let us look at the parable of the seed and the soil, which is the perfect analogy for the creative process. If a farmer plants a seed of corn into the ground, he does not come back the next day and stomp on the earth in frustration because he does not see a stalk. He knows that the seed must die to its old form to give birth to the new. He knows that the shell must crack. He knows that roots must be sent down deep into the darkness before a shoot can be sent up into the light. The most critical work of the plant happens underground, invisible to the eye of the farmer. If the farmer were to dig up the seed every morning to check if it was growing, he would kill it. He would expose the delicate roots to the harsh sun before they were ready. This is exactly what you do when you constantly check for external signs of your manifestation. Every time you look at your bank account with fear, every time you check your text messages with desperation, every time you ask where is it, you are digging up the seed. You are exposing your doubt to the light, and you are killing the momentum of your creation. You must develop the discipline to leave the seed alone. You must trust the soil of your subconscious mind. It knows how to grow the plant. You do not know how to grow a blade of grass. You do not know how to make a heart beat. You do not know how to bring a desire to pass. But the greater wisdom within you does. Your job is to plant, and then your job is to trust the harvest. The interval of time is the proof of your trust. It is the testing ground of your faith. Can you hold the vision when the field looks barren? Can you water the ground with gratitude even when there is no green shoot visible? This is what separates the master from the novice. The novice needs to see to believe. The master believes and therefore sees. We must also reframe the concept of the delay. The ego sees the time gap as a problem, but the spirit sees the time gap as a protection. You are asking for a big life. You are asking for wealth, for love, for influence, but you must ask yourself if you have the character to sustain that life. If you were given $1 million today, would you lose it tomorrow? If you met your soulmate today, would your insecurities drive them away? The gestation period is not just about the world getting ready for you. It is about you getting ready for the world. You are being stretched. You are being refined. The heat of the waiting period is burning off the dross of your old personality so that the gold of your new self can shine. The universe is expanding your capacity to receive. If you pour a gallon of water into a thimble, the water is wasted. The universe is currently stretching you from a thimble into a bucket. Do not despise the stretching. It is painful, yes, but it is necessary. The delay is ensuring that when your blessing arrives, you are the person who can keep it. This reframing changes your entire experience of time. You stop looking at the clock and start looking at the quality of your being. You realize that you are never late. You are always on divine schedule. There is an appointed hour for every vision. The sun knows when to rise. The tide knows when to turn. The seasons know when to change. Your desire has its own appointed hour, written in the ledger of the universe. It will not be late. It will not be early. It will arrive at the precise intersection of your internal readiness and the external arrangement. When you accept this, you relax. The frantic energy leaves your body. You stop trying to force doors open, and you start preparing the room for the guest. You clean your mental house. You prepare your consciousness to host the miracle. Consider the archetype of the bamboo tree. For 5 years, the Chinese bamboo tree grows underground. To the observer, it looks like nothing is happening. The grower waters the ground day after day, year after year, with zero visible results. If he stopped watering, the tree would die. But he persists. Then, in the 5th year, the tree breaks the surface and grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. Did it grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? No. It grew 90 feet in 5 years. If it had shot up without the 5 years of underground root development, the first wind would have toppled it over. You are in your bamboo phase. You are building a root system that is so deep and so strong that when your success finally breaks the surface, no storm can knock you down. The world will call you an overnight success, but you will know the truth. You will know about the years of watering the empty ground. You will know about the nights of holding the vision in the dark. Be proud of your roots. They are your stability. During this gestation period, you must practice what I call active expectancy. This is not the passive waiting of a victim. It is the active preparation of a creator. If you ordered a new piece of furniture, you would clear a space in your living room for it. You would not wait until the truck arrived to move the old sofa. You would make room in advance. This action proves your belief. You must do the same for your desire. If you are manifesting a relationship, clear out the closet. If you are manifesting a job, update your resume and buy the suit. If you are manifesting health, Start eating like a healthy person. These small physical acts are signals to your subconscious that you really believe the guest is coming. You are setting the table for the feast. But be careful. Do not do this from a place of trying to make it happen. Do it from a place of preparing for it to happen. The difference is subtle but vital. One is manipulation, the other is celebration. You must also guard the womb of your mind during this time. A pregnant woman is careful about what she eats and drinks because she knows everything she consumes affects the child. You must be careful about what you feed your mind during the gestation period. If you watch news that terrifies you, if you listen to friends who tell you it's impossible, if you indulge in self-pity, you are feeding poison to your unborn dream. You might cause a miscarriage of your manifestation. You must go on a strict mental diet. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, or else choose solitude. Read books that inspire you. Listen to music that elevates you. Protect the atmosphere of your mind at all costs. You are carrying a holy thing. Treat it with reverence. Do not let the skepticism of the world contaminate the purity of your vision. There is a profound peace that settles over you when you truly accept the gestation period. You stop fighting the day. You stop trying to fast forward the movie. You begin to find joy in the present moment, knowing that the future is secured. You realize that now is the only time you have to enjoy the anticipation. Once the desire arrives, the anticipation is over. Enjoy the pregnancy. Enjoy the secret knowledge that you have something growing inside you that the world cannot yet see. There is a delicious intimacy in this phase. It is just you and your imagination. It is a secret romance between you and God. Cherish it. Do not rush to the delivery room. Let the baby grow. Let the vision mature. Remember that the 3D world is just a delayed mirror. The reflection you see today is the result of who you were yesterday. If you don't like the reflection, don't break the mirror. Just know that the new reflection is on its way. It is traveling towards you at the speed of light. The stars you see in the night sky might have died millions of years ago, but their light is just reaching you now. The reality you see around you is the dead light of your past consciousness. The new star of your desire has already been born in your imagination, and its light is rushing across the universe to reach your physical eyes. It is inevitable. It is law. Physics dictates that the reflection must eventually match the object. You have changed the object, the reflection must follow. So, if you are sitting in the dark today, wondering where your miracle is, I want you to place your hand on your heart. Feel it beating. That rhythm is the rhythm of the universe. It is steady. It is sure. It does not skip a beat. Your manifestation is connected to that same rhythm. It is pulsing toward you. Do not give up 1 hour before the sunrise. Do not walk away from the garden just before the sprout breaks the soil. Stay at your post. Keep watering. Keep believing. Keep expecting. You are not waiting for nothing. You are waiting for everything. And when it arrives, you will look back at this time of silence and you will see that it was not empty time, it was holy time. It was the time when you became the person capable of holding your dream. Reframing the waiting is the ultimate act of mastery. Turn your waiting room into a throne room. Sit on your throne of expectancy. Rule your mind with patience and watch the gates of the kingdom swing open for you. The gestation is almost over. The birth is at hand. We have spoken of the gestation period as a time of necessary biological growth, but we must now address a more difficult emotional experience that often occurs within this interval. I am speaking of the experience of the closed door. I am speaking of the job you did not get, the relationship that ended abruptly, the opportunity that slipped through your fingers just when you thought it was yours. To the human ego, these events feel like rejection. They feel like evidence that the law has failed or that you are unworthy. But to the awakened spirit, these events are not rejections. They are interventions. We must radically reframe your understanding of the blocked path. In the higher physics of creation, delay is often a form of aggressive divine protection. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, sees the trajectory of your life from a vantage point that your conscious mind cannot access. It sees around the corner. It sees the cliff edge that is hidden in the fog. When the universe slams a door in your face, it is not trying to hurt you, it is trying to save you. It is blocking a path that leads to a lesser destiny, so that you are forced to walk the path that leads to your ultimate fulfillment. You must understand that your conscious mind is limited by the data of the senses and the linear perception of time. You judge a situation based on what it looks like right now. You see the shiny exterior of the opportunity, the attractive face of the person, the prestige of the title. But the Father, within your greater dimension of consciousness, sees the essence. It sees the future implications of that connection. Perhaps that job you cried over would have led to a stress-induced illness 3 years from now. Perhaps that person you begged to stay would have stifled your growth and kept you small for the rest of your life. The breakdown was necessary to prevent the breakdown of your soul. The rejection was necessary to preserve your destiny. When you are in the midst of the pain, it is hard to see this. You feel abandoned. But if you could rewind the tape of history and see the alternative timeline, the timeline where you got exactly what you wanted when you wanted it, you would fall to your knees and thank the universe for the delay. You would realize that the no was the greatest mercy you ever received. This concept of protection extends to the timing of your manifestation. There is a law of readiness that governs all things. If you were given a fortune before you had the wisdom to manage it, the fortune would become a curse. It would amplify your insecurities, fund your addictions, and destroy your relationships. We see this time and again with people who achieve massive success too quickly. They crash and burn because their internal structure was not strong enough to hold the weight of their external reality. The delay you are experiencing is the universe engaging in damage control in advance. It is holding back the floodgates until your vessel is sturdy enough to hold the water. It is giving you time to mature, to stabilize, and to ground yourself. This is not a punishment for your lack of readiness. It is a loving provision for your future success. The universe wants you to keep what you get. It wants your blessing to be a sorrow-free blessing. Therefore, it waits. It waits for you to become the person who is safe with power. Let us consider the metaphor of the traffic light. When you are driving and you hit a red light, you are annoyed. You are in a rush. You feel that the red light is an obstacle preventing you from reaching your destination, but you do not know that 5 seconds later, a truck runs the red light at the intersection. If you had not been delayed, if the light had been green, you would have been in the path of destruction. The red light saved your life. In your spiritual journey, there are many red lights. There are deals that fall through and calls that are not returned. You rage against them. You try to force the light to turn green, but you must learn to trust the stoppage. You must learn to say, "Thank you for this block. I do not know what it is saving me from, but I trust that it is saving me." This attitude of trust transmutes the energy of frustration into the energy of gratitude. It keeps you in the state of the wish fulfilled, even when the road is closed. You know that if one road is closed, it is only because a better, safer, faster road is being opened for you. There is also the matter of the better. Often, we settle for what we think we can get. We manifest from a place of limitation. We ask for a small raise, a decent partner, a manageable improvement, but your inner being knows that you are capable of a king's ransom, a divine union, and a miraculous transformation. If the universe gave you the small thing you asked for, you would stop there. You would be satisfied with the crumb and miss the feast. So, the universe often denies the small request to force you to expand your capacity for the great request. The delay is actually an invitation to upgrade your desire. The closed door on the good is forcing you to look for the excellent. Do not grieve the loss of the good. It was merely a placeholder. It was a stepping stone, not a destination. Let it go. Clear the space. Trust that the void is being prepared for a manifestation that will exceed your wildest expectations. We must also speak of the synchronization of mutual readiness. Often, your desire involves other people, a romantic partner, a business partner, an audience. You might be ready, but they might not be. The universe operates on a principle of harmony. It will not bring two people together until their frequencies are a match and their timelines are synchronized. If you met your soulmate 5 years ago, You might have passed each other like ships in the night because you were not yet the people you needed to be to recognize each other. The delay was allowing them to go through their necessary evolution while you went through yours. The silence between you was not empty. It was a time of parallel preparation. When the meeting finally happens, it will click with an effortlessness that would have been impossible at any earlier time. You must trust this invisible orchestration. You must trust that the universe is working on the other side of the equation just as hard as it is working on yours. This perspective protects you from the poison of bitterness. When you view a closed door as a rejection, you become bitter. You feel unworthy. You feel that the world is against you. This vibration of bitterness pushes your good further away. But when you view the closed door as protection, you remain sweet. You remain open. You maintain your dignity. You say, "That was not for me, and that is okay. My good cannot be taken from me." This lack of resistance is the key to speed. By accepting the delay with grace, you actually shorten it. You signal to the universe that you have learned the lesson of trust. You prove that you are not desperate, and because you are not desperate, you become magnetic. The very thing that was withheld from you suddenly rushes toward you because you have stopped chasing it with the energy of lack. Consider the intricate complexity of the bridge of incidents. Neville Goddard taught that we move across a bridge of events that leads us to the fulfillment of our desire. Sometimes this bridge requires us to walk through a valley before we climb the mountain. The delay might be a necessary detour to pick up a skill, meet a contact, or learn a lesson that is vital for your end result. You might need to lose a job to be free to start your own business. You might need to be single for a season to learn self-love so that you do not destroy your next relationship with insecurity. The delay is not dead time, it is active curriculum. You are in school. You are learning the specific subjects that are prerequisites for your graduation into the new reality. Do not try to skip the class. If you skip the lesson, you will have to repeat the grade. Embrace the delay as a teacher. Ask yourself, what is this time giving me? What am I developing right now that I will need later? This understanding brings a profound peace to the heart. You stop fighting reality. You stop trying to pry open doors that are locked for your safety. You realize that you are being shepherded by a loving intelligence. The universe is not indifferent to you. It is intimately involved in the preservation of your destiny. It loves you too much to give you a stone when you ask for bread, but it also loves you too much to give you bread when you are not yet hungry enough to appreciate it. The timing is an expression of love. The blocking is an expression of love. The redirection is an expression of love. When you surrender to this love, you enter the Sabbath. You rest. You know that you are safe. You know that your desire is safe. It is being kept for you in the vault of the fourth dimension, and it will be released at the exact moment when it will bring the most joy and the least sorrow. So, if you are standing before a closed door today, do not bang on it until your knuckles bleed. Do not curse the people on the other side. Step back. Take a deep breath. Bow your head in gratitude for the protection you cannot see. Say, "Thank you for blocking this path. I trust that you are guiding me to a highway in the desert." Turn around. Look for the window that has just opened. Look for the new path that is illuminated by the light of your faith. The delay is a lie. It is only a delay from the perspective of the ego. From the perspective of the spirit, it is a perfect, timely, surgical intervention. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to avoid the accident and catch the miracle. Let this truth sink into your bones. You are protected. Your dream is protected. The universe has placed a hedge of thorns around your destiny to keep out the things that would harm it. Do not try to cut down the hedge. Let it stand. Walk the path that is open. Trust the green lights and respect the red lights. Both are necessary to get you home safely. When you finally arrive at your destination, you will look back at the map of your life with all its twists, turns, stops, and starts, and you will see the genius of it all. You will see that the straight line would have led to a cliff, but the winding road led to the palace. You will thank God for the closed doors more than the open ones. But you do not have to wait until the end to give thanks. Give thanks now. Thank the closed door. It is your friend. It is your guardian. It is the evidence that you are loved. We have accepted the wisdom of the delay and the mercy of the closed door, but now we must arm you for the most treacherous part of the journey. We must discuss how to stand when the lights go out. It is easy to have faith when the sun is shining, when the evidence is promising, and when the bridge of incidents seems clear. Any novice can believe in abundance when their pockets are full. Any beginner can believe in health when their body feels strong. But the master is forged in the furnace of affliction. The master is revealed in the midnight hour, when the senses scream of failure, when the world withdraws its support, and when logic dictates that all hope is lost. In this darkness, polite hope is insufficient. Passive waiting is not enough. To command the dawn to break, you must possess a specific, aggressive quality of spirit that Neville Goddard called brazen impudence. This is not a request, it is a demand. It is not a shy knock at the door. It is a pounding that refuses to stop until the door is unbolted. It is the spiritual audacity to look at the hard, cold facts of your life and deny their authority over you. Brazen impudence is the refusal to take no for an answer from the material world. It is an inner arrogance that is entirely justified because you know who you truly are. You are not a beggar seeking crumbs from the table of fate. You are the child of the king, momentarily amnesiac, reclaiming your inheritance. When you stand in the darkness of debt, of sickness, or of loneliness, the world will try to bully you. It will present you with documents, diagnoses, and bank statements, and it will say, look, this is reality. Bow down to it. The average person bows. They accept the evidence of the senses as the final verdict. But you must be the exception. You must look at the evidence and say, I see you, but I do not accept you. You are a shadow. You are a lie. My inner world is the truth. You must maintain your assumption with a stubbornness that defies reason. You must be unreasonable. Reason is the enemy of the miracle. Reason relies on the past. Faith relies on the invisible. If you are reasonable, you will die in the dark. If you are impudent, you will walk on water. This quality of spirit is illustrated by the story of the importunate neighbor who knocks on his friend's door at midnight asking for bread. The friend is in bed, the door is locked, and his children are asleep. He does not want to get up. The circumstances are entirely against the request. But the neighbor does not leave. He does not say, oh well, it is a bad time. He continues to knock. He knocks with such shameless persistence that the friend inside eventually gets up, not out of friendship, but because of the neighbor's sheer brazen impudence. He gives him everything he needs just to stop the knocking. You must be that neighbor. The door is your subconscious mind. The bread is your desire. The midnight hour is your current crisis. You must knock on the door of your own consciousness with such relentless intensity that the subconscious has no choice but to yield. You do not stop because the facts say no. You knock until the facts change. You wear down the resistance of the 3D world with the battering ram of your focus. The darkness you are experiencing is not empty. It is a canvas. When the lights of the physical world go out, the light of your imagination can shine the brightest. But you must be willing to endure the cognitive dissonance. You must be willing to live in two worlds simultaneously. Your eyes see the prison cell, but your mind inhabits the palace. Your body feels the pain, but your mind feels the vitality. This split consciousness is not madness, it is the method of the mystic. You withdraw your consent from the physical reality. You starve the darkness of your belief. You say to the darkness, you have no power over me except that which I give you. By withdrawing your belief from the problem, you begin to dissolve it. It may look solid, like a mountain of stone, but it is actually a cloud of vapor held together by your fear. When you withdraw the fear and replace it with impudent joy, the mountain crumbles. We must address the voice of the adversary, which is the logical mind. In the dark, logic becomes a monster. It extrapolates your current misery into an endless future. It tells you, if it hasn't happened by now, it never will. It tells you, you are a fool for believing in this. Brazen impudence is the sword that cuts off the head of this monster. You answer logic with law. You say, logic deals with facts, I deal with truth. The truth is that I am the operant power. You must develop a mental toughness. You cannot be soft in this work. You cannot be easily swayed by the news or the opinions of others. You must become like a rock in the ocean. The waves of doubt may crash over you. They may submerge you for a moment, but they cannot move you. You remain fixed in your assumption. You hold the feeling of the wish fulfilled with a grip of steel. This state of being requires you to abandon the need for external validation. When you are in the dark, no one will believe in you. Your friends will worry about you. Your family will tell you to get real. If you look to them for support, you will fall. You must source your support from the God within. You must be willing to look foolish to the world in order to be faithful to the vision. Noah looked foolish building an ark in the desert. David looked foolish fighting a giant with a slingshot, but their impudence was their salvation. You must be willing to bet everything on the reality of your imagination. You must burn the bridges behind you so there is no retreat to the old life. You declare, I will live in this new state, or I will die in this new state, but I will not move from it. That level of commitment sends a shockwave through the universe. The universe makes way for the man or woman who knows where they are going and refuses to be stopped. There is a secret dynamic to the darkness that you must understand. The resistance often spikes right before the breakthrough. This is known as the extinction burst. When an old pattern is dying, it fights for its life. The night is coldest just before the dawn. If your situation has suddenly gotten worse after you started imagining the best, do not panic. This is a sign that your brazen impudence is working. You have disturbed the status quo. You have threatened the old structure. The old reality is flaring up one last time, trying to scare you back into submission. Do not flinch. Look the lion in the mouth and laugh. It has no teeth. It is an illusion. If you stand your ground in this moment of peak intensity, the illusion will shatter, and the new reality will rush in to take its place. How do you practice this in a practical way? When the bill collector calls, you do not answer with fear. You answer with internal dignity. You sit in silence and hear them thanking you for the payment. When the pain hits your body, you do not claim it. You affirm, I am vitality. You overlay the sensation of pain with the sensation of health. You argue with your reality. You bully your circumstances. You tell your life what it is going to be, rather than asking it what it is. This is not passive affirmation, this is active command. You are the dictator of your own mind. You issue decrees and you expect them to be carried out. If the world disobeys, you issue the decree again, louder, stronger, with more feeling. You do not back down. This impudence must be practiced until it becomes your natural reaction to adversity. Most people react to trouble with collapse. They call a friend and cry. They go to bed. They drink. You must train yourself to react to trouble with defiance. When a problem arises, your automatic reflex should be, I deny this. I am greater than this. I have already solved this in my imagination. You treat the problem like a gnat, not a dragon. You swat it away with your assumption. By reducing the importance of the problem in your mind, you reduce its power in your world. You starve it of the reverence it demands. Problems feed on your fear. If you laugh at them, they starve. Brazen impudence is the laughter of the soul that knows it cannot be harmed. Remember that you are operating the law of assumption. An assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. The key word is persisted. In the dark, persistence is everything. It is easy to assume the best for 5 minutes. Can you assume it for 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months with no evidence? That is the test. The darkness is the gymnasium where your spiritual muscles are torn and rebuilt. You are being strengthened. You are being purified. If you can hold the feeling of wealth while standing in the midst of poverty, you have mastered the law. The poverty must vanish. It has no choice. It is a law of physics. Two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. If your consciousness is filled with the feeling of wealth, the condition of poverty is displaced. It is ejected from your world. Do not let the passage of time weaken your resolve. Time is a trick of the mind. In the spiritual realm, the harvest is already ripe. The delay is only in your perception. Stay faithful. Be like the watchman who waits for the morning. He knows the sun is coming. He does not doubt the rotation of the earth. He waits with certainty. Your manifestation is governed by laws just as sure as gravity. It cannot fail to arrive if you do not fail to believe. Your impudence acts as a magnet. It pulls the event toward you. It collapses the time interval. The intensity of your faith determines the speed of the result. So, tonight, if you find yourself in the dark, do not light a candle of weak hope. Become a bonfire of brazen conviction. Burn up your doubts. Burn up the reports of the senses. Stand in the center of the fire and declare, "It is done." Feel the reality of it so intensely that the darkness around you ceases to matter. You are not defined by what you see. You are defined by what you envision. You are the operant power. The world is your footstool. Rise up, shake off the dust of victimhood, put on the armor of impudence. Walk through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil, for your imagination is with you. Your rod and your staff, they comfort you. You prepare a table in the presence of your enemies, in the presence of your lack and fear. You anoint your head with the oil of joy. Your cup runs over. This is the attitude that wins. This is the faith that commands the light to shine out of darkness. Be brazen, be bold, be the God that you are. We arrive now at a phase of the journey that is often the most misunderstood and the most resisted by the human heart. It is the phase of sacred solitude. As you begin to live from the inside out, as you withdraw your attention from the external world and place it upon the internal reality, you will inevitably find yourself walking a path that is less populated. You may find that friends drift away, invitations stop coming, and a strange silence descends upon your social life. The unawakened mind views this as rejection or isolation. It panics and tries to fill the void with noise, seeking distraction to drown out the quiet. But I am here to tell you that this solitude is not a punishment, it is a promotion. It is the universe setting you apart for a specific holy purpose. You are entering the womb of creation. Just as a child is knit together in the solitary darkness of the womb, just as a seed germinates in the solitary darkness of the earth, your new identity must be formed in the solitary darkness of your own consciousness. You cannot be born again while holding hands with the crowd. You must enter the chrysalis alone so that you can emerge as the butterfly. Solitude is the laboratory of the self. In the noise of the world, you are constantly reacting to the energies, expectations, and projections of others. You are playing a role to fit into the social script. You are the dutiful employee, the supportive friend, the good child. These roles are masks that hide your true power. When you are alone, the masks fall off. You are forced to confront who you are when no one is watching. This can be terrifying at first because you may not know who that person is. You may feel empty, but that emptiness is the blank canvas upon which God waits to paint a masterpiece. You must be willing to endure the discomfort of the silence until it transforms into the comfort of your own presence. You must learn to enjoy the company of your own imagination more than the company of people who drain you. When you can sit in a room alone and feel like a king, you are ready to rule. But if you need an audience to feel valid, you are still a servant to the external world. The great metaphysical secret is that mass consciousness is a contagion of mediocrity. The collective mind is filled with fear, lack, and limitation. When you are constantly plugged into the hive mind of society through social media, gossip, and constant socialization, you are absorbing the virus of doubt. To heal yourself, you must quarantine your mind. You must step away from the infection. Sacred solitude is the detox chamber. It is where you wash off the mud of other people's opinions. It is where you tune out the static of the world so you can tune into the frequency of your own intuition. The voice of your higher self is quiet. It does not shout over the noise of a party. It speaks in the stillness. If you are never still, If you are never alone, you will never hear the instructions that will lead you to your destiny. The greatest ideas, the most profound inventions, and the most beautiful works of art were all born in solitude. They were downloads received by minds that had created a quiet space for the divine to enter. We must distinguish between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the glory of being alone. Loneliness is a state of lack. It says, I need someone to complete me. Solitude is a state of fullness. It says, I am whole and I am communing with the infinite. When you live from the inside out, you transition from loneliness to solitude. You realize that you are never truly alone because your imagination is populated with the beings of your desire. You walk with the feeling of your wish fulfilled as your constant companion. You talk to your inner self. You build a relationship with the God within. This inner relationship becomes so rich, so vivid, and so satisfying that you no longer desperately crave external validation. You stop being a beggar for attention and become a generator of presence. Paradoxically, when you reach this state of self-sufficiency, people are drawn to you like moths to a flame. They sense your fullness. They want to be near the fire of your autonomy, but you must first be willing to build the fire alone. This season of isolation often acts as a divine filter. As you raise your vibration through your mental diet and your imaginal acts, you become incompatible with the lower vibrations of your past. The friends who only want to complain will find you boring because you no longer feed their drama. The partners who want to control you will find you unmanageable because you have found your own authority. They will fall away. Let them go. Do not chase them. Do not lower your vibration to keep them comfortable. Their departure is creating a vacuum. It is clearing the space for new people who match your new state of consciousness. The universe is remodeling your life, and the demolition phase often looks like isolation. Trust the architect. If the room is empty, it is because new furniture is being ordered. If the phone is silent, it is because a new conversation is being prepared. In the womb of creation, you are protected. The silence acts as a shield. When you are incubating a new dream, it is fragile. It is like a candle flame in the wind. If you expose it to the criticism and skepticism of the world too soon, it will be blown out. You must hide it. You must protect it in the sanctuary of your silence. Do not tell your dreams to people who will tear them down. Do not cast your pearls before swine. Keep your vision a secret between you and your imagination until it is strong enough to stand on its own. Solitude gives you the privacy to make mistakes, to refine your vision, and to build your faith without the interference of doubting Thomases. It is in the secret place of the Most High that you are safe. This is also a time of deep rest. Living in the 3D world is exhausting. You are constantly bombarded by sensory input. Solitude allows your nervous system to reset. It allows you to enter the state of the Sabbath we discussed earlier. When you are alone, you can drop the performance. You can breathe. You can just be. This rest is essential for the manifestation process because, as we know, effort is the enemy. When you are alone, you can practice the feeling of the wish fulfilled without distraction. You can walk around your house pretending you are in your mansion. You can speak out loud to your imaginary partner. You can act as if you are the person you want to be without fear of judgment. Your home becomes your stage, and you are the star. This rehearsal in solitude hardens the assumption into fact much faster than if you were constantly distracted by the evidence of the senses. There is a temptation during this phase to think you are being punished. You might ask, what is wrong with me? Why am I alone? You must reframe this immediately. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Every leader, every mystic, every person of influence has spent time in the wilderness. Moses was in the desert. Jesus was in the wilderness. Buddha sat under the tree. The wilderness is the training ground for greatness. It is where you learn to rely on the internal source rather than the external resource. It is where you develop the spiritual backbone that will support you when you are eventually thrust into the spotlight. If you cannot handle the silence of the desert, you cannot handle the applause of the crowd. The desert teaches you who you are. It strips away the false self so the true self can emerge. You must learn to date yourself during this time. Treat yourself with the love and respect you seek from others. Take yourself to dinner. Buy yourself flowers. Speak kindly to yourself in the mirror. If you cannot enjoy your own company, why should anyone else? You are the common denominator in all your relationships. If you are bored with yourself, you will be boring to others. If you are critical of yourself, you will attract critics. Solitude gives you the chance to fall in love with yourself. It gives you the space to heal the inner child, to revise the old traumas, and to integrate the shadow. It is a time of deep, profound self-care. It is not a waiting room. It is a spa for the soul. As you embrace this sacred solitude, you will notice a shift in your perception of the world. You will become the observer rather than the reactor. You will watch the drama of the world with a detached compassion. You will see people playing their roles, trapped in their loops, and you will not judge them. You will understand them. You will see that they are just seeking the same thing you are, but they are looking outside instead of inside. This detachment is power. It means you can be in the world but not of it. You can interact with people without getting entangled in their webs. You can offer help from a place of stability rather than getting dragged down into their chaos. You become a lighthouse. A lighthouse stands alone on the rocks. It does not run around the beach looking for boats to save. It stands firm and shines its light, and the boats find their way to it. Solitude makes you a lighthouse. Do not rush to end this season. Do not frantically swipe on dating apps or fill your calendar with meaningless events just to avoid the quiet. Savor the quiet. Drink it in. It is rare and precious. Soon enough, the manifestation will arrive, and your life will be full of activity, people, and responsibilities. You will look back on this time of solitude with nostalgia. You will remember it as the time when you found yourself. You will remember it as the time when the magic happened. So, bless the silence. Bless the empty chair. Bless the Friday night alone. It is the womb. It is the soil. It is the dark room where the photograph of your future is developing. Ultimately, sacred solitude is the ultimate declaration of faith. It says to the universe, I am not afraid to be with myself because I know that God is with me. It says, I do not need the noise of the world to validate my existence. It says, I am enough. When you vibrate the frequency of I am enough, the universe has no choice but to reflect that abundance back to you. You will find that the highest quality people, the most aligned opportunities, and the truest love will enter your life only after you have made peace with being alone. You have to be someone before you can be with someone. Solitude is where you become that someone. So, tonight, if you find yourself alone, do not turn on the television to drown out the silence. Turn off the lights, sit in the dark, listen to your breath, feel the presence of your own being. Invite your imagination to come out and play. Construct a scene of your fulfilled desire and live in it with the intensity of a child. Realize that you are the creator of worlds, and creators do their best work in the studio of the mind behind closed doors. The door is closed not to keep you in, but to keep the world out, so that you can birth a new reality that will eventually open the door and flood the world with your light. Be still, and know, be alone, and be all one. We have walked through the desert of solitude and discovered that the silence is not empty, but fertile. Now, in that sacred space of aloneness, we must perform the ultimate act of magic. We must transmute your identity. We arrive at the core of the entire mystery, the single pivot point upon which your destiny turns. That pivot is your self-concept. You have likely heard the phrase that you must love yourself, but we are going much deeper than simple self-esteem or vanity. We are talking about the structural definition of who you believe you are in this universe. The fundamental law of creation is that you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. You can want wealth until you are exhausted, but if your self-concept is that of a poor person struggling to get by, you will remain poor. You can want love with every fiber of your being, but if your self-concept is that of someone who is always abandoned, you will be abandoned. The universe is not a wishing well. It is a copy machine. It duplicates your internal state. Therefore, the only way to change your world is to change your answer to the eternal question, who am I? This phase of the journey is called becoming the one. Most people spend their lives waiting for the one. They are waiting for the perfect partner, the perfect boss, the perfect savior to come along and recognize their value. They believe that when this person arrives, they will finally feel whole, secure, and worthy. This is the great lie of the ego. It is the delusion of external salvation. I am here to tell you that no one is coming to save you because you do not need saving. You need awakening. You must become the person you have been waiting for. You must become the source of the love you seek. You must become the generator of the security you crave. You must become the authority that validates your existence. When you stop looking for the one outside of you and realize that you are the one, the entire dynamic of your life flips. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop begging and start commanding. Let us dissect the mechanics of self-concept mastery. Your self-concept is a bundle of beliefs, assumptions, and memories that you have accepted as true about yourself. It is the script you are handing to the actors in your life. If your script says, I am second best, you will always find yourself in situations where you are the runner-up. If your script says, I have to work hard for everything, you will create obstacles just so you can struggle to overcome them. To change the script, you must be willing to die to the old self. This is the mystical death spoken of in Scripture. You must let the old man, the victim, the struggler, the lonely one die of starvation by withdrawing your attention from him. You must then birth the new man by assuming the feeling of the ideal. You must ask yourself, who would I be if I had everything I wanted right now? And then you must dare to wear that identity before the physical evidence appears. This practice requires a type of spiritual method acting. When a great actor prepares for a role, they do not just read the lines, they become the character. They walk like the character, think like the character, and feel the emotions of the character until the line between actor and role blurs. You must do the same with your ideal self. How does the wealthy version of you walk down the street? They do not rush. They do not look down. They walk with an unhurried rhythm of assurance. How does the loved version of you react to a text message? They do not panic. They do not overanalyze. They read it with a smile, knowing they are cherished. You must start rehearsing these reactions in the privacy of your mind. You must practice the feeling of your new identity until it feels natural. The feeling of naturalness is the key. As long as the new you feels like a costume, you are still pretending. When the new you feels like your skin, you have become. We must address the mirror of relationships again here, for it is the most brutal and honest reflector of your self-concept. If you are constantly meeting people who disrespect you, it is because there is a part of you that disrespects yourself. You are broadcasting a signal that says, it is okay to treat me this way, and the world is obeying. To change this, you do not need to attend conflict resolution workshops. You need to raise your self-concept. You need to reach a point where disrespect feels alien to you. When you truly value yourself, you become repulsed by mistreatment. You naturally move away from it, or miraculously, the people around you stop offering it. They sense the shift. They sense that the old game is over. You have established a new standard, not by demanding it with words, but by radiating it with your being. The world treats you exactly the way you treat yourself in the silence of your own mind. Becoming the one also means becoming your own provider. We are conditioned to think that our supply comes from a job, a client, or the economy. This makes us fearful and dependent. But the Master knows that supply comes from the inner state of abundance. When you identify yourself as wealth, money appears. When you identify yourself as success, opportunities appear. You stop worrying about the channels of supply and focus on the source, which is your own consciousness. This relieves you of the terrible burden of trying to manipulate the world to get what you need. You realize that you are the sun and the planets of prosperity revolve around you by the law of gravity. You do not have to chase the planets. You just have to be the sun. You have to burn with the conviction of your own abundance. There is a profound peace that comes with self-concept mastery. It is the peace of no longer needing to prove anything. When you know who you are, you do not need to shout it. You do not need to show off. You do not need to compete. Competition is for those who believe in lack. The person who knows they are, the one knows there is no competition because there is no one else like them. You are unique. You are a specific expression of the divine that can never be replicated. When you rest in your own uniqueness, you become magnetic. People are drawn to authenticity. They are drawn to the person who is comfortable in their own skin. By simply being yourself, your highest, truest, most expanded self, you offer a gift to the world that no one else can give. But be warned, the old self will not go quietly. It will fight for its survival. It will whisper old insecurities in your ear. It will bring up past failures to prove that you are a fraud. This is the terror at the threshold. When you are about to step into a new identity, the old guardians of the threshold will try to scare you back. You must be prepared for this internal battle. You must stand firm and say, I know you. You are a memory. You are a ghost. You have no power over me anymore. I am a new creation. You must be obstinate in your new assumption. You must refuse to entertain the old conversation. This vigilance is the price of admission to the higher life. You cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought. You cannot afford to indulge in self-pity. Those are the habits of the slave, and you are becoming the king. This transformation is not about becoming arrogant. It is about becoming accurate. It is arrogance to think you are better than others. It is accuracy to know you are part of God. It is false humility to deny your power. It is true humility to accept that the power flows through you and that you have a responsibility to use it well. When you elevate your self-concept, you elevate everyone around you. You give others permission to shine by your example. You become a leader not by force, but by inspiration. You show the world what is possible when a human being aligns with their divine nature. Imagine for a moment that you are wearing a crown. It is invisible to others, but you can feel its weight on your head. How does that change your posture? How does it change the way you speak? How does it change the way you listen? This is a practical exercise you can do every day. Put on the invisible crown. Walk into the grocery store as if you owned the company. Walk into your office as if you were the CEO. Not with pride, but with a quiet, secret knowledge of your true status. Watch how the world shifts. Watch how people move out of your way. Watch how service improves. You are training the universe how to treat you. You are setting the frequency, and the universe is simply the radio playing your song. Becoming the one implies a total integration of your desires. You stop seeing your desire as something out there to be caught. You start seeing it as something in here to be expressed. If you want love, you become love. You give love to everyone you meet, not to get something back, but because you are overflowing with it. If you want wealth, you become generous. You give, knowing that your supply is infinite. This flow from the inside out is the mechanism of creation. The dam breaks and the river flows. You are no longer a stagnant pond of need. You are a rushing river of supply. This journey to the center of the self is the only journey that matters. All other travels are just distractions. You can travel the world and find nothing if you carry the old self with you. But you can sit in a prison cell and find the whole universe. If you find yourself, when you master your self-concept, you master your destiny. You realize that there is no destiny other than what you decree for yourself. You are the writer, the director, and the star. The script is unfinished. The pen is in your hand. What will you write next? Will you write another chapter of the victim, or will you write the chapter of the hero? The choice is yours in every single moment. So, I invite you to make a vow to yourself today. A vow of loyalty to the high calling of your soul. Promise yourself that you will no longer speak of yourself with disrespect. Promise yourself that you will no longer tolerate thoughts that make you feel small. Promise yourself that you will do the work of the mental diet to nurture the new identity. You are the project. You are the masterpiece. You are the one you have been waiting for. Look in the mirror and say, I am here. I am ready. I am the one. Feel the truth of it ring in your bones. Let the old skin shed. Step into the light of your new being. The world is waiting to meet the real you. Do not keep it waiting any longer. We have now reached the summit of our journey together. We have traversed the landscape of the mind, from the awakening call within to the discipline of the mental diet, through the valley of waiting, and up the mountain of self-concept. You have received the keys to the kingdom. You now understand that the world is a mirror, that feeling is the secret, and that you are the operant power. But knowledge alone is not enough to save you. Knowledge must be ignited by will and sealed by action. We arrive now at the moment of the final decree. In the ancient traditions, a decree was not a request. It was a law issued by a king that could not be revoked. You are the king and the queen of your own universe, and the time has come for you to issue the decree that will define the rest of your life. This is not a time for hesitation. This is not a time for maybe. This is the time for it is done. You must gather all the scattered energies of your mind, all the hopes and fears, and focus them into a single laser beam of conviction. You must stand in the center of your being and declare your new reality with such authority that the atoms of the universe tremble and obey. Let us understand the spiritual physics of a decree. When you decree a thing, you are not asking for it to happen. You are declaring that it has already happened in the realm of truth. You are collapsing the wave of probability into a particle of reality. The scriptures say, "Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee." Notice the certainty. It shall be established. There is no variable. The only variable is your courage to speak it. I want you to feel the weight of your own I am. Every time you say I am, you are signing a cosmic contract. Up until now, you may have been signing contracts for death, for sickness, and for loneliness. Today, we tear up those old contracts. We burn them in the fire of your awakened consciousness. Today, you write a new contract. You write it with the ink of your intention and sign it with the blood of your passion. You are no longer the victim of your history. You are the prophet of your future. I want you to close your eyes for a moment, even as you listen to my voice, and prepare to make your stand. We are going to issue the decrees of the new self. Repeat these words in the silence of your heart, but scream them in the silence of your spirit. Say to yourself, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. I am not a body. I am a spirit. I am not a circumstance. I am a creator. Feel the power of these words. They are not empty sounds. They are vibrations of truth. Continue to decree, I am wealthy. My supply is infinite because my source is infinite. I do not chase money. I attract it. I am a magnet for prosperity. Feel the shift in your body as you claim this. You are aligning with the frequency of gold. Continue to decree, I am loved. I am cherished. I am worthy of the highest form of devotion. I do not beg for love. I embody love, and therefore love rushes to me. Feel the warmth of this truth. You are healing the wounds of rejection with the balm of your own authority. This practice of the final decree must become your daily bread. You cannot eat once and be full forever. You must feed your soul these decrees every single morning. The world will try to starve you. The news, the skeptics, and the old habits will try to feed you the bread of sorrow. You must refuse it. You must set a table in the presence of your enemies, your doubts, and feast on the decrees of your greatness. When you wake up, before your feet touch the floor, issue your decree. Today is a day of miracles. Today, everything works in my favor. When you go to sleep, issue your decree. I rest in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is done. By sandwiching your day between these pillars of power, you create a sanctuary where your dreams can grow unprotected from the weeds of the world. You are building a fortress of faith that no weapon formed against you can prosper. Now, as you prepare to step back into the three-dimensional world, I must give you a charge. You are going back into the marketplace, back into the family dynamic, back into the office. The old world will look the same. The people will say the same things. The problems will appear to be in the same places. Do not be fooled. You are a spy in the house of reality. You are walking among them, but you are not of them. You possess a secret knowledge. You know that the scenery is just a set, and the play is about to change because you have changed the script. Do not react to the old echoes. Walk through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil, for your imagination is with you. When someone insults you, smile inwardly and decree, I am respected. When a bill arrives, smile inwardly and decree, it is paid. Live in the dual consciousness of the mystic. Keep your feet on the ground, but keep your head in the heaven of your ideal. This brings us to the necessity of connection and the law of circulation. You cannot walk this path in a vacuum. The fire of your faith needs oxygen to burn, and that oxygen is found in the community of like-minded souls. You need to surround yourself with reminders of who you are. This channel is designed to be that sanctuary. It is a digital temple where we gather to remember our divinity. I invite you now to make a tangible commitment to your continued growth. I ask you to click the subscribe button, not merely to add a number to a screen, but as a spiritual act of alignment. By subscribing, you are telling your subconscious mind, I choose this, I choose wisdom, I choose power, I choose to be reminded of the truth. You are planting a flag in the soil of this teaching. You are saying, this is my home. This is where I come to be fed. Turn on the notifications so that when the world tries to drag you down into the mud of forgetfulness, you will receive a summons to return to the mountaintop. Furthermore, you must participate in the flow of energy. The universe operates on the principle of giving and receiving. You cannot hold your breath forever. You must exhale to inhale. You cannot hoard the light. You must share it to receive more. If this message has touched you, if it has unlocked a door in your mind, I challenge you to share it. Share it with a friend who is struggling. Share it with a family member who needs hope. Share it on your social platforms as a declaration of what you stand for. When you share truth, you become a conduit of truth. You become a river, not a reservoir. The river is always fresh, always moving, always abundant. The reservoir becomes stagnant. Be the river. By sharing this, you are participating in the awakening of the collective, and there is no higher service than that. You are helping to wake up God in others. Now, I want to anchor this decree in the physical world through the power of the written word. There is magic in writing. It takes the invisible thought and makes it visible matter. I want you to go to the comments section below and write your final decree. Do not just think it, type it out. Engrave it into the digital record of this moment. I want you to write, I am the operant power. My life changes now. When you write these words, you are signing a contract with the universe. You are witnessing to your own transformation. Read the comments of others. Like them. Encourage them. Realize that you are not alone. There is an army of awakened souls rising up all over the world. We are a legion of light. Draw strength from this community. Let their declarations bolster your own faith. When you see thousands of others claiming their power, it makes it easier for you to claim yours. As you leave this masterclass, do not let the feeling fade. The feeling is the fuel. Protect it. Guard it. If you lose it, stop everything and get it back. Go back into the silence. Re-listen to this message. Do not let a day go by where you do not calibrate your instrument to the frequency of your desire. You are the instrument. You are the music. The song you play is the life you live. Play a song of triumph. Play a song of joy. Play a song of abundance. The universe is listening, and it will dance to whatever tune you play. You have the baton. Conduct your symphony. Remember that the time is now. Now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. Do not say, I will be happy when. Be happy now. Do not say, I will be wealthy when. Be wealthy now in your consciousness. The present moment is the only point of power. The past is a memory. The future is a fantasy. All creation happens in the eternal now. Seize this moment. Claim your identity. Walk out of the door of your old life and step into the cathedral of your new existence. The doors are open. The red carpet is rolled out. The angels are applauding. It is your time. It is your turn. I leave you with this final thought. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. You contain the galaxies within you. You contain the power that raised the mountains and filled the seas. Do not play small. Do not serve the false gods of fear and limitation. Serve the true God of your own wonderful human imagination. Trust yourself, love yourself, believe in yourself. You are the miracle you have been waiting for. Go forth and multiply your good. Go forth and subdue the earth of your mind. Go forth and live the life that was intended for you before the foundations of the world were laid. Thank you for walking this path with me. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your light. It is done. It is done. It is done. Go in peace, go in power, and never forget who you are.